let's start. So that is decentralization and real world use cases. We'll be looking at one, understanding decentralization, two, how decentralization works in blockchain, three, real world use cases, four, future of decentralization, and then finally we'll be looking at final question and answers and wrap up. Right? So understanding decentralization, we say decentralization refers to a system where control, power, and decision making are distributed across multiple participants. That's people or systems. I think we even talked about this a little bit. Instead of being held by a central authority, that's instead of probably a government, a bank, a corporation, or a boss. All right. So centralized system, under centralized system, you have something like a bank that controls and process your financial transaction. You have the government that makes laws on your behalf. In fact, some of the laws might not be favorable. Like, for instance, imagine the government waking up to tell you that they have to increase the tax rate. So you understand some of the decisions made by this government, like they are not really decisions that benefit the masses or the citizens, but then all the collective people. They are probably a decision that benefit just a few of them. All right. But since it's a centralized system, they still go ahead and carry that out without even like getting to know whether it's going to be the beneficial to you or not, and things like that. So these are some of the issues with centralized system. Then when you talk about decentralized system, right? That one is when uh, just like the definition says, right? The control, the power and decision making is not solely on one person. One person cannot just come and make a decision or maybe use control or use power. No, no, no. Like it has to be a collective. And that collective, it depends on the law, right? It depends on the kind of law that they stick to. And we still look at all those. All right. So this diagram is just an illustration where you have decentralized. All right. There's no center place of authority. You have centralized where there's a center place of authority. And then center led, although this one is not really part of what we are doing, but this center led is still a part, a bit. So it's just like combination of decentralized and centralized, though, but it's not entirely decentralized. So that's what this center led is. It's just like probably in a class. All right, you have your class rep, you have you now, the students, and then you have a class rep, and then you have the lecturers. Now you find out that any lecturer you want to reach out to, maybe concerning an issue whatsoever, you people as a class will come together as a collective to discuss, talk on an issue, conclude on the issue, and then that issue, that conclusion, now you guys will now tell class rep, like you people will tender it to the class rep. The class rep will now be the person to now go and tender it to the lecturer or the authority, which you people are actually interfacing with. But even in that center led of a team, you can decide to tell class rep A, and class rep can decide to add his own B and C and go and tell the lecturer A, B, and C. You are not there with him to know what he has actually discussed with the lecturer. You understand? Are you really sure that the class rep will always represent you 100% without bringing in his own bias or without bringing in his own interest? So center-led too is not entirely decentralized, right? It's just in between. So I don't know at this point, is there any question before we move forward? Okay. So now this one, we are just looking at the difference between centralized and decentralized. All right. So under control now, for decentralized, they have one central authority. So that's why in things like your school, you have either your proprietor or you have the principal. All right. Why that's in your secondary school, why in your primary school, you have the head teacher or the headmaster. All right. In a bank, if you go to a bank, you always have the branch head. That's if you go to a branch. Why if you are talking about the bank as an institution, you have the CEO, all right, of the bank. You have the managing director, you have the director and all of that. So those are the ones that actually takes some of the decisions and all of that. Well, if you come to decentralization, right, it's the control is solely based on the blockchain users. Is distributed among many participants. No single person, no single individual, or no single system or organization have that veto power. You understand? So next is trust. Now, in the centralized system, you always trust in a particular entity. You trust an individual. For instance, in a country now, you trust the president to make decisions. All right, you trust the president, you trust the house of, is it house of representative this time around, house of senate, right? The okay, there's the executive, the legislative, and the judiciary. All right, so you trust the executive, you trust the legislative to actually do their work. All right, so that's a centralized system. But for a decentralized system now, you don't even trust in the individuals involved or in the organizations involved. You trust in the blockchain system. You trust in the code. You trust in the consensus. We have talked about code before. All right, where we say smart contract are code. So you trust the smart contract. You trust the code. We also look at consensus. You trust the consensus. Consensus is just how this uh, well, we'll look at it. Let me not talk about it before. I think after this slide, the next is consensus. All right. So now the next one is in terms of security or failure point, right? For the centralized system, there's single point of failure. Now, whenever you hear they talk about single point of failure, it simply means that a particular place that when it fails, every other thing will fail too or will crumble. All right. So when there's single point of failure, when the center fails, that's this center simply means when the main authority fails, every other thing will be on hold. All right. Although there are some ways where centralized system actually checkmate this. That's why if you remember Access Bank, was it last 2 years or so, where their CEO died. That was even his name, Wigwe, right? Abi Wigwe. When he died, you find out that Access Bank did not stop working. It was still working and all of that. And why is that? Because there's always a structure that in case of any emergency, they can bring in somebody to fill in the position temporarily. All right, pending when another person will be brought in or will be given that position to manage. So there's always a kind of single point of failure. Whereas for decentralized system is more secure. There's no single point of failure. It just keeps running. Even if some parts fail, there are other parts that will keep it running because it's not just one person that matters. Here, it's more like everybody matters. So even let's say out of 10,000 participants, even if 9,000 participants fail, you still have 1,000 that will keep it running. So at this point, there's no single point of failure. Then in terms of speed, for centralized system is actually fast. Why? Because you have a single authority can actually take a decision. You understand? And if that single authority takes a decision, the decision is likely to be executed immediately. Why? Because he's the main man. All right. So, but for decentralized system now, nobody is the main man. So as a result of that, execution, if they're executing anything now, if they want to implement anything, it can be slow sometimes. Why? Because all the people participating, all the groups involved might come up with their own suggestion, right? And even if they have somebody having a superior suggestion, they might still not likely accept it immediately. They might still start looking at, are you sure this is the best way to go? And all of that. You understand? So they need to to have like a large percentage of agreement. I think like the Bitcoin, right? I think they said anytime they want to implement a change that will affect the Bitcoin core, all right? That's in terms of improvement. You know, they have what they call BIP. There's BIP for Ethereum, you have EIP. That's Ethereum improvement proposals. The IP is just improvement proposals. Why the first letter is depending on the name of the blockchain. Like Bitcoin is BIP, so Bitcoin improvement proposals. So if like they're implementing a proposal, all right, and all of that, they need the people running nodes and also the people mining. They need about 90% of them to indicate that they are ready for that upgrade. Most especially if the upgrade involves updating their software. So they'll need like up to 90%. So once 90% indicates that they are ready, they'll go ahead and update it. So imagine now you want to update something. You know, you cannot just give people 1 month, because after 1 month, you might not even get up to 40% that are ready. You understand? Due to some people, due to the complexity of the systems they are using for mining. Because some, it's not as if it's like your laptop they are using to mine. Some, they are using all those embedded devices without screen. There's a way they connect it and all of that. So they might not be really updating the software on those things, might not be very as easy as you just going to Play Store or going to Windows Store or going to your browser and then going to the website of the application to update. You understand? So you need to give them time. You need to give them at least 6 months, 1 year. But if it's here to be a central authority, the man can just come and say, oh, Benny, by next week we'll be moving to version 3.0. If you like, move. If you like, don't move. You understand? So then the next one is transparency. Now, for centralized system, most decision they make is privately. For instance, when MTN decide to increase, government say they should increase by 50%. MTN went and increased by 100%. Nobody knew. It was when they now implemented it, everybody now saw it. Everybody shouted for like 1 week, 2 weeks. Now, all of us, we are now quiet. All right. So the next is why for decentralization is public and transparent. So everything they are doing is in the public. Even the BIP, Bitcoin Improvement Program, or the AIP, Ethereum Improvement proposals, is something that is in the open. Like anytime they propose it, they bring it to the open, they discuss on it, the advantages, the disadvantages, why must this be implemented, when will it be implemented, the timeline, how complex is it going to be. So all those discussions used to be in the open. That's why if you go now, you search for EIPs, you will see all the EIPs so far on Ethereum, both the ones that have been implemented, the ones that are still in their implementation stage, and the ones that will be implemented in the future. All of them are there in the open. In fact, in some of them, there are discussions and all of that. You can even participate in their discussion, most especially if you are knowledgeable in that aspect or you have maybe something to contribute towards that. All right. So that's it for the difference between centralized and decentralized systems. So are there any questions at this point before we move on? Any question?
I have a question, sir.
Okay, go on.
So, good morning, sir. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning,
So, in
Michael.
terms of this speed that you just mentioned about relating the
Yes.
centralized and decentralized systems, so is
Yeah.
it just the speed on the part of decision making, or it is also the speed on the part of method of operations? Because if we look at decentralized systems, we've been made to understand that it is supposed to make things faster to work for us. So now you just mentioned the aspect of majorly decision making and implementation of some certain conditions to be met. So that's my question. Is it just meant on the part of decision making, or as a whole, both decision making and method of operations?
Okay. Now, majorly, before you do anything, before anything comes to the stage of operation, right, you need to make a decision. You understand? So mostly it's in terms of decision making. Are we moving forward with this or not? So they have to wait until a larger percentage of people come in terms or come in agreement with that decision. And then once they're in agreement with it, mostly the implementation doesn't take much time. You understand? Is in terms of decision making. Hope you understand. It's just like this River
Yeah.
State crisis, right? President just woke up and say he has suspended the governor, which of course, although he's not even in his capacity to do that, but you know, he did that. He suspended him. In a decentralized system, you can't just wake up and say you suspend one member or suspend one organization, you alone. It's not possible. Even if you are the founder of the blockchain or you are the co-founder, you can't do that. All right. So it's when everybody now come and agree, then immediately they agree, this organization, let's suspend them from Ethereum foundation, from Ethereum, anything Ethereum, let's suspend them for now. Boom. Once everybody agree, or majority of people agree with valid reasons, then they can execute it immediately. So it's mostly the part of the decision making. You understand?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Uh-huh. You're welcome. Then in terms of execution too, if the execution is in stages, okay, for instance, there's something they have been working on for the past 8 years, 10 to 8 years in Bitcoin. That's multi-process. That multi-process now is what they are trying to divide the core. There's Bitcoin, the Bitcoin core now contains Bitcoin node, Bitcoin wallet, and Bitcoin GUI, graphic user interface. All three are combined. So what this multi-process they are trying to do is to separate these three. So if me, I just want to run Bitcoin node, I don't need to download Bitcoin GUI, that's the graphic user interface. I don't need to download the wallet. I just need to download my node and be running. Then once I need to use the wallet, I can use the wallet as a standalone application. Or if I want to use the graphic user interface, I can use it as a standalone application. Now, this has been going on for 8 years. They have been actively developing. You understand? They have been developing it in stages, stage by stage by stage. So for every stage, software engineers come, look at what is being developed, make their own contribution in terms of discussion. Of course, anytime you hear software engineers, it's not only always code that engineers or developers contribute to a project. It's not only code. Sometimes they contribute by discussing, talking about it. Okay, what is the potential pitfall? What is the potential disadvantages? What should we look out for now in order not to cause some form of challenge in the future? So some will come and give a kind of like foresight, some will give hindsight, and other things like that. So, I hope that answers your question.
Yes, it does. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. All right. So now let's look at advantages and challenges of decentralization. At least from here, we have looked at the difference between centralized and decentralized system. So now let's look at advantages and disadvantages, or challenges, not disadvantages in these aspects. So now one of the advantage, I think we've even talked about this so many times, it removes middlemen. So you don't need the bank. You want to collect loan, you don't need to go to the bank and start signing this, signing that, submitting this, submitting that. So there's no banks, no companies, no government is needed to validate your transaction. All right. Middlemen removed. The next, another advantage is that it increases security or resilience. So why? Because there's no single point of failure. So there's nothing, you can't really say, if hacker just hack this blockchain, I die you. Like, it's not possible. It can hack a part of it, but not everything. All right. So it's harder to hack. It's like a spider cobwebs. I know some of you here, maybe you want to kill spider. You find out that by the time you throw stone or throw something at the cobwebs, some part of the web might get dissolved. But you find out that other parts will still be left up there until you decide to remove everything. You understand? So it's like a web. You can't really say if I could just cut this one part, this thing have gone. No, it will still be standing and all of that. So another advantage is that more transparent. Just like I said, all the transactions are on the blockchain, and the blockchain is public. That's why they call it public ledger. Any time of your choice, you can decide to go. If it's Ethereum, you can go to Etherscan. If it's Bitcoin, you can go to all the blockchains have their own where you can go and check for any kind of transaction. So all the transactions are public. Unlike the decentralized system. Centralized system is only probably they send you money. That's the only way you can know. And even that money they send you safe, you might not know the charges that are involved in sending you that money. All right. But in the centralized system, they'll show you the gas fee you use in sending that money, they'll show you everything, they'll show you. So it's more transparent. Then finally, it's censorship resistant. All right. A bank, like unlike centralized, a bank can decide to lock your account. They'll tell you that it's because of a suspicion, something suspicion, blah blah blah, this that you should come and prove that you are the owner of the money. All those kind of headache. But for decentralized system, nobody can come and censor you. It's not possible. Nobody can censor you whatsoever. But in this centralized system, you can even send money and they'll hold your account, they'll block your account. They'll say you have to come down to the bank to explain. You can receive money and then they'll tell you that the money you receive, that they are suspecting that is the money came through a fraudulent activity, maybe money laundering and all of that. But in blockchain, you don't have anything like that. You can receive as much as you want. In fact, you can receive all the money in the world and then nobody will come and hold you. So these are some of the advantages. Why for the challenges part? Now, mind you see that I put them side by side. It does not mean that for this advantage, this is the disadvantage. No, I just decided to put them because of space. That's why I put them like this, side by side. All right. So for challenges, number one is scalability issues. I think we've talked about this in the last class, where we say you can have, when you have more people trying to use the blockchain at the same time, you always have these scalability issues. And that's where you also have gas fee, increased gas fee. Why? Because people are trying to compete for validators or miners to mine their transaction on a block as fast as possible, or validators to validate their transaction as fast as possible. So another challenge is complexity, right? So coordinating people, like, we said decentralized system, we have many people running nodes. And of course, in your first class, you should know what nodes is from your first class, not that's your first week. All right. So it's not easy to like make many people to put together resources, put together computers, and be running on the node as a validator or as a miner. So it's not really easy like that. And that's why you have to bring in a form of system that incentivize them. So by giving them incentives in terms of gas fee and the rest, you see that they will be willing, because at least they know there's a reward for their work. There's a reward for their labor. All right. So the next is complex governance. Now, decision making can be slow. We've talked about it under this place, right? So decision making, see what I was telling you, is it Moses now, or yeah, Michael, sorry, not Moses. So you can see what I was telling you, that majorly where you have this slow part of this thing is when they are trying to make a decision. You understand? So decision making can be slow in decentralized communities. Group decisions take longer. You understand? It's like you sit down with your friends, 10 of you guys, and then you guys want to watch a movie. You understand? And then people now ask, which movie you go watch? Now, among 10 of you, there are some that might like to watch maybe romantic movies. Some might want to watch war movies. Some might want to watch action movies. Some might want to watch sci-fi movies. You understand? So before you know this, I say, let's watch this. I say, no, let's watch this. I say, no. In fact, you even see some that want to even watch Odogu movies, and all of that. So making a group, like taking putting people together in a group for them to take a decision can take a longer time. For them to agree on a particular thing, it can take quite a lot of time compared to normal system. So lastly is energy consumption. All right. So this is majorly for Bitcoin, because it's Bitcoin that is still using proof of work. Ethereum started with proof of work, but they later moved to another consensus mechanism. We'll still look at that. All right. So, but Bitcoin still uses proof of work, and proof of work requires that you perform high mathematical computations. You understand? For you to be able to mine a block. That's when they say mine a block, it's simply for you to be able to add a transaction or to add transactions to the blockchain, new transactions to the existing ones that are already in the blockchain. So this proof of work now, you have to perform high computations, and that high computations now, they take a lot of energy. They require a lot of electricity. And of course, if you are using a lot of electricity, you have to pay for what you are using. So that's why you see it requires a lot of computing powers. And apart from the fact that you're even taking more electricity, you have to buy computers that have are resourceful, computers with very high GPU, graphic processing is it units now also, and CPUs, powerful CPUs and GPUs. So I know those kind of computers cost a lot of money. Most especially computers with powerful GPUs cost a lot of money. So that's these are some of the advantages and challenges, at least the major ones. Yes. So I don't know, are there any question, or is there any question at this point before we move forward? Okay. So it seems no question. Why are you guys hearing me? This everybody's quiet.
Can you hear you?
Okay, thank you. So now let's look at role of consensus mechanism. I'm quite sure the first teacher talked about this, right? So before we even go further, I know you're already looking at my screen, right? No problem. So who can tell us what are consensus mechanism? If we say consensus mechanism, what does it mean? It does not matter. You can do it in pidgin, or if you don't want to speak English, you can do it in Yoruba, Igbo, Hausa. I'm pretty sure we'll have those that will interpret here. Okay, so please go on, Abiola. Go on, Abiola.
Maybe his mic is mute and he doesn't know.
It's true. It's as if the mic is even unmuted, but it seems it's network. All right, no problem. So, any other person that wants to talk about consensus mechanism before we go on?
Okay, brief, sir. I would say after a transaction is being passed to the nodes,
Yes.
it reaches a stage where validators or miners need to work on this transaction so that it can give it more validity. As you said earlier on, in Bitcoin, it is called proof of work, and then in Ethereum, it's called proof of stake. Now, proof of work is, as you said earlier, high computational power. Now, validators or miners need to have bigger systems with bigger GPUs and CPU. But contemporarily, Ethereum came up with, okay, instead of computational power, let's stake that is cryptocurrency for it to do your work. So the validators and miners, it gives people an opportunity to compete and validate on Ethereum. And then there are other consensus mechanisms like POA and the rest. There are so many, but the prominent tool is proof of work and proof of stake.
Awesome. I love this. I think somebody, okay, Michael, do go on.
Okay, so for consensus mechanism under proof of work, it's just like giving 1,000 people a puzzle to solve. Let's take, for instance, I don't know if anyone knows Sudoku puzzle here. So it's like giving them a very, very tough Sudoku puzzle to solve. And the first person that gets to solve the puzzle is the next person that gets to decide the next rule of the puzzle. Do you understand me? While the proof of stake is like having to donate or contribute a particular amount of funds into a trust wallet or a bank or something like that to secure it. Then the person with the highest donation is randomly picked, and they get to decide the next rule of the puzzle or the mechanism. But if they cheat during that process, they will lose their donations. That's my understanding of it.
Awesome. I wish I knew. I would have just send this slide for you people since so, and then I'll just say prepare for class. Me too, I'm a student. I love this. All right. So now when I talk about consensus mechanism, just like they rightly said, right? In fact, is one of those securities that is behind decentralization. That is, it is what makes decentralization to be what it is. All right. So they say, how does blockchain stay decentralized without someone in charge? Let's break it down. Since decentralized network don't have a central authority, they use consensus mechanisms to validate transactions. So it means when it comes to the decision of validating transactions, adding transactions to the blockchain, it solely lies on this consensus mechanism. So now, what are they? What are these consensus mechanisms? So they are actually rules that help all computers in a blockchain to agree on what is true. If you remember, I think last class, I think somebody had asked a very important question. The person was like, decentralization say there's no middlemen. But why is it that we have miners and validators, right? I, I, I think I've forgotten who asked the question. So we are now had to explain to the person that actually what those people, those miners, validators, what they are providing is a system, is the computer that is running the software. They don't sit down on their software screen to say, this transaction, when did he do it? He did it 10 a.m. Are you sure this transaction is even correct or fake? I beg, reject this thing. The person should go and redo it. No, it's not as if they are sitting there looking at their screen 247. It's not like forex traders. And even forex traders sometimes can set their stop loss and is he, what did they used to even call those things? Is he collect profits?
Take profit,
Take profit.
take profit and stop loss.
Thank you. Is that this Michael is a trader? So take profit and stop. They can set it and then go about their daily business. You understand? So that is what is happening here too. So these validators, these miners, they have computers. In fact, some of them have data centers that run these things. Some of them come together as a company, pool resources together and build like a mini data centers with computers, many computers running some of these things. All right. So now this consensus mechanism, just like I said, there are rules that help all those computers that are participating in the blockchain to agree on what is true. All right. And I gave an example here that is like a group agreeing on the right answer without a teacher. You understand? Because, in class, when a teacher asks a question and a student answer it, it's the teacher that will now verify whether the answer is correct or not. But this time around, it's like there's a question. Anybody can answer the question, but then it's still the same group of students in the same class that still get to decide whether the answer given by that particular student is correct or not. All right. So as such, these rules, majorly, why did they bring up these rules? These rules are being brought up so that nobody will cheat anybody. There will be nothing like being biased. There will be no form of bias. There will be no form of cheating or taking over. All right. So that's why this rule, that's the role of this consensus mechanism. Okay. So any question on that? Okay, before that, let's look at the some of the examples of consensus mechanisms before we take questions. So there are many kinds of consensus mechanism, but these are the major ones: proof of work, proof of stack, delegated proof of stack. Now, when you talk of proof of work, it's the consensus mechanism that is still being used by Bitcoin till this day. That was what Ethereum started making use of before they upgraded to proof of stack. Now, in proof of work, just like I explained, miners solve complex mathematical problems to validate transaction. Now, there's what they call God of mercy. Why did I forget this? There's a name they call it, I've forgotten. So they give you a target, right? A target hash. Yes, they give you a target hash. Probably a particular number that your hash should not be more than. You understand? And that number is between 0 to 1. So the lesser that number is, the more difficult it becomes to get it. The higher that number is, the more easier it is to get it. So now I'm talking about in terms of Bitcoin. Now Bitcoin creates a block on an average of every 10 minutes, a new block is being created. So they do it in such a way that for anybody to be able to mine a new block, it will take the person an average of 10 minutes. Mind you, that does not mean it can take less time or more time. So what they do is that if they see that people are taking more time to build a block, they will increase the target to make it easier. And if they find out that people are now creating block much more faster, right, they will reduce that target to increase the difficulty of the mining. So the mining is for you to hash the transaction, right, and get a transaction hash that is either equal to the target or below that set target. And you know, hashing takes okay, let's just leave it there. Since it's not as if we are looking at Bitcoin, we are looking at blockchain in general. All right. So then next thing you need to know about proof of work is that it is secure, but it requires a lot of electricity. In fact, this one, they are just talking about it in terms of electricity. They are not even talking about it in terms of the hardware you'll be using. You need to buy sophisticated hardwares, CPUs and GPUs, big ones. All right. In fact, some people, what they do is that they come together, just like I say, they pool resources together to make sure they get some of these sophisticated CPUs and GPUs and all of that. So it costs a lot, because even that those GPUs and CPUs, you know, they generate a lot of heat. So as such, you need to find a way to be cooling them, or else you can just wake up one day and find out that your stuff have damaged. Because sometimes some of these miners, they run those things 24/7, 24 hours, 7 days a week. So that's for proof of work. So any question? I see Mike raising up his hand. So is there any question?
We were talking about target hash. So I wanted to just mention that I guess you are referring to none.
Okay. That none, right? Okay. Yeah, I think that's it. But well, I'll confirm that and then I'll get back to you, because there's another, I think, none for Stacknet that I know is that if any changes is made to the your smart contract, the none, it starts from 0 though. Yeah, from 0. So if you make any change, maybe you upgrade your contract and you redeploy it, it's going to start reading. It will read 1. If you do it again, it will read 2. So it's just like it's keeping track of the changes that is being done, something like that. But I will confirm. I'm not too sure. I don't know why the name escaped my mind, but I'll confirm. But you could be right. Yes, you could be right. So any other question?
Yes, sir.
Okay, please go on.
Okay, so my question on this proof of work is that now, whenever I hear about minor solve complex mathematical problems to validate this transaction, so I want to really understand that mathematical aspect. Does it mean that their software they have, which is I don't know how they call it, maybe their client software that does this mathematics, or is real human and brain that solves the mathematics on each transactions?
Okay, beautiful. Now, I love this question actually. You understand? Because imagine you telling this particular thing, minor solve complex mathematical problem, to maybe students in secondary school. They will assume that the minors are carrying paper and biro and pencil to solve some kind of calculus, or calculus is one aspect of mathematics in secondary school that's been looked upon as one of the most difficult. Yeah. So actually, this mathematical problem, if you remember in our first or second class, we talked about, in our first class, we talked about cryptography, we talked about hashing, right? Why for Bitcoin, we say it's SHA-256, isn't it? Where we say you use a function. There's a hash function, a one-way function that it accepts any amount of input and gives out an output. Now, this is how it works. Permit me. Okay, let me just use mouth. If I wanted to like use as an illustrator, but sorry, let me just use mouth and cursor to illustrate. Now, I can say the hash I'm looking for is hash that we give. Of course, hash is always 64 bytes. It will give you a 64 byte. All right, we've talked about that. So I'll say I want an hash that will be around 576. That is my target hash, 576. So what it means is that now, what you'll be solving, or the mathematical problem you want to solve, is that what and what can you add to the transaction? Because let's say you hash the transaction as it is, you find out that you don't get 522. And the target I set is either 522 or a number lesser. Now, by the time you hash the transaction, you might get like 705. You have not solved that problem. You have to now look for, what's inside this transaction? What are some of the information I need to touch? Not like really inside the transaction, like the money sent and all of that. There are some other fields that you can add some things to, randomize it. So you randomize it, you hash again. You now check, is it this one is 600, is still above the target. So you go again. Now, this thing I'm telling you, these machines, what they do is that they run this hash function. Some run it billion times per second. Some run it million times per second, depending on how powerful the machine is. So imagine a machine generating millions of hashes per second. So it will keep on generating like that until somebody is able to hit the 522 on the dot, or something lesser than 522. So I don't know if you understand how this thing works now.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, I can see Christina Obande raising up her hand. Please go on.
Sorry, please, me, I still don't understand.
You still don't understand?
Yeah.
Okay. So for the sake of Christiana, let me reshare my entire screen. All right. Then I will use an illustration. So, okay, I guess you guys are seeing my screen, right? So let me just use this. Let me see if I can increase the size. Thank God I can increase it. So I set a problem. I set a mathematical problem. And the mathematical problem is, I set an hash, a target hash. They call it target, right? Target hash. And I say somebody should produce an hash that is always less than or equal to, let's say my hash is 34578 right? Something like this, a target number. But just like I said, the target number is, well, let's not go there. Let me just put it this way. So let's say this is the target number or target hash. Let me just use number so that I will not be confused. So I set a target number that in your hashing, this is the target you should have. You should have something that is either less than, I think this is greater than, like this less than. That is either less than or equal to this number. Now, miners with their powerful computers, their powerful processors and GPUs and CPUs, we now start running this hash function over and over again. Now, as they are running it for a Bitcoin now, blockchain, every block has particular fields of information, the amount sent, the address of the sender, address of the receiver. There are some fields that you can actually tamper with. Those ones are not really important. For instance, like version number. You can play around with version number, because remember what we said about that if any single input, you change any single input, even if it's just by a little, it will cause a tremendous change in the hash rate, in the hash. You understand? So you can have powerful computers running. Some even do about 1,000,000 hash per seconds. So for every seconds, that computer produces 1,000,000 hash. That's the number of times he runs that hash function to produce a hash. Now, if the person produce, let's say the person produce an hash of 35444, right? Now, look at what we have here and look at what we have here. Does the person meet up to the set standard?
No.
No, he did not. You understand? Because the target is that either exactly this or less than this. Now, another person comes, he did another one, and maybe the person now got, let's say he got, let me use this. Let's say the person now got 967034. Did the person meet up the target?
No.
No. Okay, let's say for instance, somebody was now very lucky. He now got like 3245, right? 90. So have the person solved it?
No. Yes. You said less than,
Yes,
right?
he
Yes.
has, right? Why? Because they say it less than or equal to this. So this person that is able to solve this one will be the first person that will mine the block. And then it's the first person that will receive the reward of mining block, because there's a reward for miners. And there's always a reward for, I think right now it should be 3.5 BTC, but for mining a block, you receive 3.5 BTC. So it started at 50. So due to the design of Bitcoin, it was halving. There's a particular, I think the particular number of blocks. After that particular number of blocks, it will half. So it half to 25, half to like that. I think right now is on 3 point something. So, and very soon, before you know, it will be on 1 point something. So that is the mathematical problem they are solving. And this mathematical problem is not as if it's somebody that is to come and set it. No, it's the software itself that will set this target number. And then when he sees that people are solving it, they are taking longer time to be able to solve it, it's going to increase the number. You understand? It's just like you randomizing a number. You find out that if you are randomizing between 0 to 1, if I say you should give me a random number of 0.0001, hope you know it will be very difficult than if I say you should give me a random number of around 0.5. So getting this one will be more difficult than getting this one. So if they see that people are finding it difficult, it's taking more than 10 minutes, because the average time of creation of block, mining a block in a Bitcoin blockchain is 10 minutes. So if they see that you are taking it's taking the miners more time, they are going to increase this number. By increasing the number, it will make it more easier and faster for the miners to mine a block. If they see that it's now taking it like they are now mining the block too fast, let's say a block now they are taking 5 minutes, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes, 6 minutes, 7 minutes to mine, they will now come back and reduce the target number so as to balance up everything to be around that 10 minutes mark. So that is how the whole thing works. And just like I say, this mathematical problem, all these things is being set by the software itself. Nobody's going there to say these miners, nah, they go just they chop BTC. I beg, reduce them, or I beg, increase them. It's the software that dictates it based on the activities of the miners. So I hope this answers your questions.
Yes, it is answered. I'm clear now. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Beautiful. So any other question?
I have a question, sir.
Okay, please go on.
So you said that these numbers that they are giving a target number, right?
Yes.
That it has to be less than or equals to it.
Yes.
So in a case where it is not equals to it and it is less than it, is there a particular margin that it has to reach, or is there a particular difference in numbers? Like now you gave example of 300 and something thousand. If
Yes.
someone gets up to a number of like 200 and something thousand, is
Yes.
the margin far enough? Is it too far, or is still okay? I don't know whether you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's okay. So far is equal to the what they give you, or less than is okay. It does not matter how far the range. Do you get?
Yes, I do.
Okay, I also have a question.
Okay, go on.
So yeah, I understand the concept of proof of work, yeah, because I currently take a course on cycling of graphs, yeah. So
Wow.
yeah, concept, but yeah, proof of work, yeah. So my question here is that okay, well, let's start from the consensus mechanism. Like, is there a way for the it is just a way for the system and let's say the validators, the nodes or whatever, for them to like agree
Mm.
before adding a transaction to the chain. That is the
Yes.
consensus mechanism. So
Yes.
let's say proof of work. Yeah, let's say that based on Ethereum, yeah, Ethereum no longer runs on proof of work. It is now proof
Mm.
of stake. Yeah?
Mm.
So proof of work was when they had to do, let's say, in the Stone Age, yeah, whereby
Yes.
people have to do like menial jobs, like physical work to make money. But now everything is now digitalized. So let's say, well, my question here is just that what is the essence of the proof of work? So to me, I understand this as this. Let's say currently in Nigeria, like the whole currency in circulation is let's say 4 trillion. So let's say to add anything to that 4 trillion naira in circulation, then possibly there has to be maybe an increase in our exportation or in our economic activity. Possibly you
Mm.
can say, okay, we want to print more naira. So I think is that what they mean by the proof of work? Like, okay, whenever uh the miners, yeah, whenever they solve any computational puzzle, yeah,
Yes.
so the reward is okay, they are going to mint a new BTC, for example, or
Yes.
a new ETH, for example. Is that
Yes.
what it means in short?
Okay. So now the proof of work is just a consensus mechanism to protect the system and makes it remain decentralized in such a way no major actor can actually influence anything. You understand? But then, just like I said, you can't tell people to come and burn their electricity to buy sophisticated hardwares and equipment, and then you now tell them that on God, God bless you. They could just look you, they laugh. You understand? So, number one, they now look at it that, okay, Satoshi Nakamoto was not like, okay, since just like the fiat world, our central bank and the rest, time to time, they do introduce new cash into the economy. They mint new, they print more money, right? To make more money available. So let's create a system that also introduce new BTC into the system. So miners now are usually the ones that normally get this new BTC. And the like proof of work consensus mechanism, the goal is not, the goal is to protect that the blockchain and make it remain decentralized. The goal is not just to bring in new BTC, because just like I said, the way it's been done, when they started with 50 BTC and then it halved to 25. Right now I think it's at 3 point something. Very soon it will have to 1 point something. Now by 21,000 and something years, that's if we are still, I don't, well, let me not say I don't think any of us here will be alive, because I know some people will be alive, like Jethro is planning to be alive, right? So by the time we get to that, there's a point where the reward will not be zero. The halving will get to zero. So at that point, the only reward miners will get will be gas, reward from gas fee. And I'm suspecting that when that time comes, there's a probability that gas fee might likely increase. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. So they just see it as a system of a better system of bringing in more BTC into the system by rewarding miners. So I hope that is clear.
Yeah, actually, yeah, it's clear now. Like
Okay.
that's exactly what I just want to clear.
Okay, beautiful. Exactly. So any other question on proof of work before we move? Hmm? It's not doing me as if it's Bitcoin class we are taking. If it suits me well, but no problem. Maybe one day we'll do that. So proof of stack, POS. So this proof of stack now is the one that is used by Ethereum now. Just like I said, Ethereum started with proof of work, but they moved to proof of stack. And then also is the one used by Solana and also Cardano. All right. So now validators in this case, so in proof of work, you have miners, but in proof of stack, you have validators. So that's why I see we have been using these two words since our first day. We have been using them interchangeably, miners, validators. So validators are choosing based on the number of tokens they stack or lock up as collateral. So just like what somebody explained earlier about proof of stake, right? Validators lock, like for under Ethereum now, they lock some Ethereum to be able to validate. And if they don't validate it properly, or they don't do it the way they are supposed to do it, they lose their Ethereum. That's the Ethereum they stack. So imagine you losing your Ethereum. And when they talk about Ethereum, it's not as if these validators, they went and stack one Ethereum, saying, I just one Ethereum now, I just 3,000 something dollar, man no go die. No, these validators, some of them might have up to 1,000 ETH locked up. Some might have up to 100 ETH, some up to 50. Because I believe there's a minimum amount that you have to have locked up for you to be qualified or to qualify as a validator. You understand? So that's it for proof of stake. And then this proof of stake is energy efficient because it does not require you to run sophisticated softwares and sophisticated hardwares, because the software can be run by any computer. But for you to be able to perform this high mathematical thing to solve this problem, is you need very high hardware, sophisticated hardware, and those sophisticated hardware consume a lot of energy. So, but proof of stake is not like that. So it's more energy efficient. All right. So any question on that proof of stake before we move to delegated? And for these validators, right, they actually get rewarded by gas fee. These miners also get rewarded by gas fee, mind you. Gas fee plus, they call everything in total, they call it block fee. That's both the mining, the money they get from mining a new block, and also the money they get from gas fee. Everything they call it block fee. So whereas this one they get incentivized through gas fee. So any question under this proof of stake before we move to delegated proof of stake? Okay. So for delegated proof of stake is used by EOS, is used by Binance Smart Chain. All right. And then token holders here vote for a small amount of trusted validators. So it's just like I was talking about the class rep system, all right, where we now as the whole student, let's say in a class we are 100 and we are about 200 students, we can decide to come together and say, let's create a group and select those that will always represent us, maybe before lecturers or before the entire school. Let's say we have a complaint. Okay, beautiful. Now we have the school students, we have SUG, right? Student Union of Government. And then we have the normal Senate of the school. All right. You now find out that anything that we do, students, anytime we want to interface with the Senate, all of us, the student, can't just carry ourselves, all of us, and be going to the Senate house or Senate building in the school and say, want to meet VC, want to meet VC, want to meet registrar. No. You understand? So that's why we now come together as a collective. That's why the fact that one too is not even political, right? We'll come together, we'll look at, this guy, these people, this set of people have character. This guy, we can elect him as SUG president. This one can be his assistant. This one can be financial. You understand? We will now select those set of people to represent us before those Senate, VC, and the rest. So that is how this delegated proof of stake is. Now, token holders, those that hold some amount of token, we come together and select a smaller number of trusted validators. So that is what this delegated proof of stake is all about. So any question? I think somebody was raising up his hand. Okay, go on.
Yeah. I have a question actually.
Okay.
So, from my own point of view, so what are distinct the validator from the node? Because looking at both of them, they look same to me. Like, can you just shed more light on that? Like, what is actually different between the validator and the node?
Okay, difference between validator and
to me they actually look almost the same. Yeah, but what actually differentiates them actually?
Okay. So sorry, can you come again? What differentiates?
A validator, yeah, and
Okay, validate. You mean validator from miners?
yeah, from a node. I mean node.
Okay. Now I get you. Now, right? Validators are the people themselves. For instance, now you can't call a computer a miner. You can't call a computer a validator. Computers are nodes, right? When I talk of nodes, they are computers that run and keep the blockchain system updated. So the people that are having these computers or the people that are having this node are what is referred to as validators and are what is they are referred to as miners. So do you get it? So object, which is the computer itself running, we they call a node. The people who get the computer, we they call them validators or miners, depending on the consensus mechanism they are using. So do you understand? Like now, I can come and meet you and say, Adiosu, I'm a validator or I'm a miner, but I can't tell you that I'm a node. If I tell you I'll be node, you say for go fear now. Okay. So somebody is raising up his hand. You can go on.
Hello. Okay.
Yes.
I just want to ask, this proof of stack, is it the same thing as proof of stake?
Oh, sorry. I think it's a spelling mistake from on end. Yeah, it should be.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry for that.
Mm.
You see, and I was looking at it all the whole time. I never even it is where when I know verse. Okay. Yeah, it's the same. So I think it's a spelling error from on end. Is there any other question?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So my
Go on.
question is on this delegated proof of stake, just like the Binance Smart Chain, because I know that this Binance Smart Chain, when I was making research, is for how is it called? This Binance CEO. So does it mean that this their chain they made, which is this Binance Smart Chain,
Yes.
makes use of the Binance Smart Chain blockchain, make use of this delegated proof of stake, which is, I think, is it CZ or something like that?
Yes. That's what it makes use of. Delegated proof of stake. You understand? I know, just like I mentioned initially, where I was giving the instance of a class rep, and a lecturer, right? Now, yes, you guys in the class must have voted the class rep. Why? Because you believe he has you people's interest in heart. But there's always a probability of him also having his own interests in such a way. Once he gets to meet the lecturer, right, he can project his own interests more and emphasize more on it than even you people in the class, your own over your own interest. Because number one, you are not there with him to know what is happening. So how will you even know that he represented you guys well and all of that? You understand? So it's still a kind of me. I just place it in between centralized and decentralized. Because okay, imagine token holders vote for small. What of those small people? They now start agreeing on based on what will benefit them. You understand? So please go on. Somebody's raising up his hand. Okay, go on.
So
Okay.
okay.
Okay, so the DPoS is
Yes.
somewhat similar to, let's say, I'm not really saying like the democracy we run, but not really like that. Like people will vote into House of Rep. So
Yes.
to speak on our behalf or
Yes.
vote on our behalf, something like that.
Yes. Yes.
Why the consensus will have been like the real democracy we are talking about, in which the people themselves will be the one, like the one they are doing in Switzerland. Yeah, something like
Sure you get.
that.
So my last question is here. So
Okay.
can we call Alchemy a node?
Okay, can we call? Sorry,
Alchemy, you know Alchemy.
you're not really clear. I don't know if you're using earpiece or
Yeah, Alchemy, you know Alchemy.
alchemy. Okay, is it alchemy like the movie?
No, the alchemy whereby let's say you want to set up let's say you are working on foundry So you want to
Okay.
set up like a dashboard for your decentralized app.
Okay,
Like you
okay.
know this app whereby
Okay, alchemy. I
yeah.
remember. Hmm.
Can you call Alchemy a node?
Yes, in a way. In a way. Although I've not
Why?
used alchemy, I have an idea of it, but I've not really used it. I've not
So
really used it. Now, when they
actually,
say node, right? Sorry, when they say node, right? It must not be a physical computer. I can buy servers around the world and set them up, each of those servers, to be running this thing, to be running as validators or whatsoever it is, to be helping me to validate transaction or mine. So at that point in time, those servers have become a node. So most of these guys that run node, it's not like it's your computer that you know that there's screen, there's keyboard. No, 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 no. Majority of them, they bring like all those servers. That's what I was talking about, data centers. You know, data centers run servers, and those servers are like computers without screen, just stacks of computers on top another, all everything. So you can run a node that way. Once you are running anything on the blockchain that's computer that is either validating or mining, it has automatically become a, and why they call it a node self is because you are connected to every other computer that is on the blockchain system. You are not alone. You are connected. You depend on the other person for information. If there's a new block that is being mined, there's a new transaction that is being added, you depend on other blocks to actually send that information to you. So you too, you have the information. Another nodes too, we depend on you to also send them that information for them to be able to update their own record too. I don't know if you understand. So it must not necessarily be like your computer. It could be maybe servers all around the world
no,
and all of
no,
that.
I actually understand that it might not actually be my computer, but
Oh,
since the essence of a node is just to keep copies of transaction records and all of this, and
yeah.
this is one of the things that Alchemy does. Yes,
Yes.
and so that's why I said, can we call Alchemy a node?
Yes, you can call them node providers.
The node providers.
Good. You can call them node providers.
Okay, second question, like DAOs, like decentralized autonomous organizations, can we call them validators?
Don't worry. We'll get to that. Look at it. We'll look at DAO. Let me show you. Where is it, Seth? I think DAO is part of what we are supposed to look at. Okay, just ask your question. Let me just answer it. Okay.
Actually, the
And
thing
we'll
is
look
that,
at
you know,
it.
when
Once
I
we
was
get
talking, and
here, you understand?
I was, you know, when I was talking, and I said I have because of ciphering of that. So I'm
Yes.
decoding that. But you see, this node validator part of it is like
Yeah.
very confusing. Like that's the most confusing thing for me. I was just be saying node. I don't really understand what that is. Like that is
Okay.
why I'm actually asking the question.
Okay, yeah, no problem. For that DAO, right, we'll still look at DAO here. So let's leave it so that at least once we come here, we'll now I'll now attend to that your question on DAO. Do you get it? But I hope you understand node now. When they say node, you understand what they are trying to say. All right. So the next person, I can see you raising up your hand. Can you?
Yeah, yes, sir. I just want to add to that his question. He asks that alchemy. So that
Okay.
alchemy is not like really like a node. They are just like a company that give you access to APIs to blockchain and the rest of them. That's what alchemy does. They are not really a node. They are just like a node provider or a
Thank
service provider.
provider. Beautiful. Ah, that's what I thought. Say, be like say, me self go find chair. I beg extra seat today. These are the see 26 people, and I no one sit down for back on front one day. Or now say back seat today. I no go agree.
You go gather in gather.
It is well. All right. So let's continue. Now, okay, just like we said, this proof of work, and somebody even mentioned it where I talked about this cube by solving a Seduku something. So I believe we all know what this Rubik's cube is. If you don't know, you can search on it. Is that cube that each face have different colors and you can rotate it horizontally, vertically until it matches. You understand? So it's the first person that solve it that gets the reward. That's proof of work for you. Why proof of stack is like, for we to trust you that you really want to work in the best interest of this blockchain, you have to give us something to know that yes, you really want to work, you have to like risk something. Good, let me put it that way. So let us see your level of risk. Your level of risk now will determine if true you really work the way you are supposed to work and follow the rule or not. And even if you decide not to follow the rule, what you keep as collateral, what you risk, you lose it. So that is just what this proof of stake is like. All right. So let's look at the next one that says nodes and peer-to-peer networks. So I remember when somebody was asking that, why is it that for our P2P, it's like that one is not automatic. It is where I think in the first or second class. So a node, like we have said before, is a computer that keeps or maintains a copy of the blockchain, right? And checks transaction. They also checks transaction. That this check now is like a validate transaction. All right. So it's like when you compare it with a library, it's like librarians making sure that every book matches. Let's say now in the library, you have different sections for different kinds of books. You have science, you have arts, you have law, you have engineering. So the librarian will make sure science books remain in the science archive. Engineering books remain in the engineering archive, and the rest. Not that you go to look for engineering books and you're seeing law book there, or you go to look for law book and you're seeing science books there. So that's a node. So always remember it's a computer. So why next you have peer-to-peer, P2P network. So this P2P network is a communication system where computer communicates directly to themselves. They don't do that through a server. You understand? For instance now, okay, let me even ask a question. What do you guys think the internet is? Let me even ask this question. What do you think the internet is? I know some of you say, you buy data. You say, my data don't finish, I no go fit browse. But once you buy data, you now see that you can browse, you can enter Google, you can enter Amazon, you can search, you can enter, you understand? So what is even the internet? How does it even work? Just briefly, can somebody help us?
An
Okay.
internet is a
Let me
network
try.
that connects people together. In
Okay.
short,
Okay. Beautiful. Michael?
Let me try.
Okay.
Okay, so the internet is a wide range of interconnected network of several computers that communicate with each other with a different kind of maybe protocols. How will I say it? Well, it enables the sharing of information and other resources globally.
Beautiful. Now, okay, Tech Explorer, you want to say something? Okay, so now you see this peer-to-peer network is almost the same way is almost like the same way the internet works. But the only difference is that now your internet has a central point. For instance, now look at we are on Google Meet call. All right. It means you guys, your data is on, my data is on too. Now, let's say I go to Google and search for what is Bitcoin. What is happening is that I'm using MTN network. So MTN network, since I buy data, is like I'm buying like an access. It's like they're giving me open access through their network. So that my request, as I'm typing what is Bitcoin, enter, that my request will go through MTN servers. Now, MTN servers too have access to other servers. And that's why I think there's a time Nigeria had some kind of network issues, and they say that some terrorists attacked some data internet lines that pass through the Atlantic Ocean. So MTN, through their network, that request will flow through those cables to the nearest, there's what they even call them, a fiber cable. Thank you. So I've forgotten the name, but if I remember, I'll tell you. So it will go to the nearest this thing. Once it gets there, they will now start checking for through the central authority. I've forgotten their name. They will now start looking for your request. If you say what is Bitcoin, they'll start looking for everywhere, all the computers connected on the internet. Of course, there is their own servers. And it's not as if it's somebody's own. So they'll start looking for all the servers they have that have that information, and then they'll put everything together, index them based on how they feel is relevant. That indexing, that's when you see a particular one is appearing first, the one is appearing second, another is appearing third. They will now send it back to you. You understand? So they'll send it back to you as a response. That's when you now see and say, this one talk about Bitcoin. This is as if this one explains it more. Let me enter here. By the time you click on that thing, it will send another request. Now, those service provider now, through MTN down to the main people over there, they will now check for the computer that has the record or the server that has the record of that particular one you are requesting for, and then send it back to you. Now, in a situation where it has been removed, that's when you see something like not found. I think it's 404, which error codes ever forgotten. You now see not found. It means it's no longer there and things like that. You understand? So, but this peer-to-peer now, you don't need any central authority. The computers or the nodes in this case are connected to each other. They are interconnected. So they communicate directly with each other. So let's say, for instance, this guy here successfully mined a block. So mining a block, it means he has added a transaction, right? Now he's going to send, because he's the only one that has the record of that block, right? Thank you, Latifa, 404. He's the only one that has the record of that block. So what he's going to do, he will start broadcasting that new block so that other nodes on the same network will have a copy of that particular block. And that's why I see Bitcoin gives a time, like they always make sure that the time it takes to create another block is average of 10 minutes. So that before that 10 minutes time, many of the nodes that are connected must have gotten the recent copy of that block that just been mined. You understand? So now this one will communicate to this one will communicate to this one will communicate to this. So that's how communication will keep on going in between them. So let's say if, for instance, this one went offline, let's say, for instance, this computer went offline, maybe due to, maybe this guy lives in Nigeria, and then MTN decide to cut wire, or Airtel, like 6 hours no network. It means this guy is going to go offline. Now it means that this other guy cannot be stranded because this guy went offline. Why? The information he was supposed to get from this guy, he will still end up getting it from this guy. If this guy decides to go offline, right, this guy cannot be stranded. Why? Because information that this guy is supposed to give to this one will pass it to this will pass it to this, and this will in return pass it to this one. So that's how they are interconnected. There's no central server. There's no place I say, now this place, now information they come up from. No. And if it's this guy that mined the block, that's how he's going to pass across the new block, information about the new block he just mined, so that all these other nodes too, we add it to their own record. So this is how P2P works. So does anybody have a question? Or maybe somebody or anybody wants to add anything? Okay. So let's continue. Now, governance in decentralized system. So decentralized autonomous organizations, DAOs, I think we've talked about them in the last class, right? So they are just internet communities that make decisions using blockchain-based voting. All right. So there are different kinds of voting, majorly two types. There's the on-chain and the off-chain, right? So for the on-chain voting, I say token holders vote on proposals directly using smart contracts. So, I talked about proposals, the BIP, Bitcoin improvement proposals, the EIP, Ethereum improvement proposals. So there are different kinds of proposals. That EIP and BIP is just improvement proposals. That's what will make the blockchain better. But there are other proposals outside of all those improvement proposals. So you can see for on-chain voting now, they vote based on smart contracts. Because why? Smart contract runs on the blockchain. That's why they call it on-chain voting. Why for off-chain governance, right? They hold discussions. So do you remember the person that asked the question about speed? So you see, they hold discussions and decisions are made first before being implemented. So the problem is not the implementation. The implementation is fast. The problem is in the discussion and decision making. Because you can say Monday, everybody should come and discuss. Some people tell you that they don't have time on Monday. That is Tuesday they have. So you have to just follow everybody small, small. Why? Because everybody is important. Not that I say that guy, those organizations, they say only then they this blockchain. I better forget about them. Who could do it to want to leave them? No, you can't do that. Everybody is important. All right. So take note on chain and off chain. On chain, they do it solely based on smart contract. Off chain, they hold discussions. So if you go to GitHub, most especially for Bitcoin, they do that a lot. The Bitcoin ecosystem. You see a particular GitHub PR, they open a pull request not for code. They open a pull request just for discussion. So under that pull request, everybody bringing his opinion. This one will say no, this is bad. This one will say no, this is good. This one will say no, this is bad and good. This one will say no, this is good and bad. You understand? So like everybody will come and say his own, and at the end they will now settle on a particular decision. Once they make that decision, they move into implementation. So example of that is you have the Uniswap DAO. This is not the only DAO. There are many other DAOs. This is just one of the examples. So where token holders decide on changes to the Uniswap protocol. You understand? Then we have the Maker DAO. That's this one now is community vote on interest rate for loan. So unlike the centralized system, the banks, you can't tell bank the interest rate you want to pay. It's the bank that will tell you the interest rate that you have to pay for whatsoever loan you are getting. You understand? But this Maker DAO now, right? So it's the community themselves that will come and vote on the interest rate that should be placed on each loans. And you see that this one will be very effective. Why? Because the community knows that tomorrow they might want a loan. So if they will likely be seeking for loan, they want it in such a way the interest rate will be favorable to them. So they will not go and do something that will be too much. They want to pick something that is very moderate. So that's typical of governance in decentralized system. So does anybody have a question or maybe an addition? Okay, are you people sure? Are they backing Alpha? Like there was a question you were asking on DAO. So like, can you ask it again now?
No, actually, the question I asked is, can I call DAO
Yes.
validator?
Okay.
Like, can they be referred to as validator? That's
Okay. Actually, validators are part of DAO. You understand? But the DAO itself is just about governance. But validators are actually the major people participating in DAO. All right. So let's look at real world use case, right? Real world use case. So under this real world use case, we'll be looking at decentralized finance, DeFi. So I think we've even talked about this before, but anyways, let's still cover it. So decentralized finance is simply banking without banks. All right. So that's when you talk about banking, it involves lending, borrowing, or trading, and all of this using blockchain. So whereas traditional finance, they rely on the banks. When you talk of fiat, majorly they rely on banks. So DeFi replaces them with smart contracts. So in banking system, traditional banking system, the banks serve as the trust there. You trust the bank to process your loan. In paying back your loan, you trust the bank also. And all of that. You understand? But whereas in DeFi, everything is based on smart contract. Smart contract now plays the role of trust. So it becomes trustless because you don't need to trust who you are dealing with. You just trust the smart contract that is binding both of you together. So for borrowing and lending in the DeFi space, you have platform like Aave and Compound. So they let users borrow crypto and earn interest. What it means is that you that have crypto, you can decide to go and stake it in Aave or Compound. Once somebody is coming to borrow it, he will borrow it with the intention of paying back with an interest. Now, once the person pays back, you are getting your money back and interest on top of it. So the platform is for both those that want to make interest from borrowing out their crypto and also those that want to borrow crypto. So next is decentralized exchanges, DEX. So you have those exchanges like Uniswap, PancakeSwap. So all these ones now, they allow users to trade crypto without a central exchange. So you can swap from one crypto to another directly. You don't need a bank. All right. You say, let me go to a bank or let them change this thing for me. So these are decentralized exchanges. So this is decentralized finance, all in all, DeFi. So of course, we talked about this already. When you talk of decentralized finance, you have two parties that are being bounded together by the smart contract. So they don't really need a middleman or intermediary to come and process anything. No, the code itself, that the smart contract itself, processes everything. So any question? Okay. So this place, sorry, I never even forgotten. This Rubik's cube, this is it. This is the Rubik cube, the one I was talking about, where you have to, like, you can move it horizontally, vertically until the colors matches, something like that. So please go on.
So you just mentioned borrowing and lending on platforms like Aave and Compound, whereby people can stake their Ethereum.
Yeah.
So in previous classes that we had, we were made to understand that staking Ethereum is it gives us the chance to validate transactions, right? So now that we've also known about borrowing and lending, is it also possible for, rather, aside getting profits from validating transactions, that means we can also get profits from when people lend our Ethereum that has been staked?
Yes, you can. But
so
then
that's we have two scenarios of getting profits now.
beautiful, you understand? But it's on different platforms. All right. The one that has to do with a validator is on the Ethereum blockchain itself. But this one now have to do with the platforms that offers loans. You understand? But both you make your profit. Both you make your profit.
Sir.
Yeah. So any other question? All right. So let's move to the next one. So another real world use case is supply chain tracking. All right. So blockchain actually ensures transparent tracking of goods from when it is manufactured down to when it's being delivered. Just like you can see from this picture, right? When it's being manufactured here, the record is being kept. When it's being researched, the ingredients, the everything, as the research is going on in the pharmaceutical company, there's a record that is being kept. When it's being manufactured, a record is added to the initial record of research. When it's in the warehouse, a record is added. When it's being transported, a record is added. When it's maybe it's taken from one warehouse in one town to another warehouse in another town or another country, a record is being kept. When it's being distributed to probably resellers, that's those that has chemists, healthcare providers like hospitals and the rest, a record is being kept. So from this record here, probably you, the patient, or you, the healthcare provider like hospitals, or you, the retailers like chemists, you can go to the blockchain, check the record, and trace it down to when it is even being manufactured. So as a result of that, you are sure that this particular medicine you are getting, or this particular drugs you are getting, is a genuine drug. You can trace it from when it's been even researched upon, not even when it's being made, when it's being researched upon, where it is being researched on, the platform and everything, how it's being made, how it even got to you, and all of that. So just like I say, it helps to reduce fraud. It helps to reduce fake products. And also it tracks food safety. It monitors where the food is coming from. So example of people that make use of this are Walmart and IBM. So Walmart and IBM actually use it to track food origins. And they do that to prevent contamination. And then VChain, they actually use it to track luxury bags or shoes. You know, luxury bags and shoes are very expensive. Imagine you buying a Gucci bag. You see one Gucci bag, you see $1,000 or 2,000. There's one I even saw $10,000. Like, I was like, am I crazy? Yes, man. So imagine you buying Gucci bag of $10,000 just for you to now realize that it's a fake one. you're going crazy now. You understand? So that's why this VeChain, they now use it to track some of those luxury bags or shoes to make sure they are not fake. So that once you are buying the Gucci, you know this original Gucci, not that the Gucci chain that you buy today, after 1 month, somebody is asking you that guy, you change chain again. Say, no, now see that chain, what happens? Why do you say the thing don't they look red now? Eh? So that's it. So actually, all this, the supply chain tracking is that it helps to build trust and stop scams. All right. So this is supply chain tracking, one of the real world use. So I don't know, is there any question on this before we move?
I have a question, sir.
Okay.
So yesterday, while going through the internet and reading on blockchain, I came across the blockchain in health industry.
Okay.
And we're made to understand that along the supply chain ledger, we can track medicine, we can track equipment used in the hospitals to get the authenticity and purity of goods. So along the line, we were also made to understand that it is possible to track organs, like human organs that may be needed for transplants, to get the history of the organ, who has it, the genetics of the organ, is there diabetes running in the family of the person, all those kinds of information. So moving forward, I came across implementing IoT with blockchain. You know, blockchain on its own, it is used for tracking. So now my question is, yes. So my question now is, what is the use case of the IoT? Because we are mentioning putting down records at each point of the supply chain ledger, right? So is it that the IoT comes with other trackers aside putting down the record? Is it that it comes with other trackers of when the goods are in transit until their final location?
Beautiful. In fact, you've answered your question. All right. So because generally IoT are actually Internet of Things. All right. They are what connect devices across the same network. You understand? So it's possible that they will attach an IoT. Let's say for instance now, this car now transporting the medicine or drugs from one warehouse to another. You can never tell. Along the way, the car can stop and then they can bring in another truck, can come pack the original one and then replace those ones with fake and go away with the original and then align this one to take the fake one to the warehouse. So, but IoT, if there's installment of IoT, if there's any stop, it will indicate and alert those that are in charge. All right. It will indicate, and they can even decide to connect it directly to the blockchain in such a way it's going to send a signal or a record directly that this car stopped at so activity happened and all of that. Because this IoT, it could be that it's attached with a camera as well and all of that. So there are so many possibilities. It's just like you trying to combine, you are trying to cook and you're combining so many ingredients together. So IoT, you can combine so many things, IoT and blockchain and other things, to make it as much truth and transparent as possible. So that's how I understand it to be.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. It's a good one. I love the way you went and read more. So please, I know that others too are doing the same. So it's always good. You know, anything we teach you in class is not 100%. We just try to give you as much as we can. You understand? And explain as much as we can. So, but by the time you do more research, you even find out that you get to learn more things than even what we are giving you in class. All right. So thank you. So another real world use case is digital identity and voting systems. I think we discussed on this the last class. Very interesting discussion. Yeah, Latifat, this was the one that brought about the voting systems, if I'm not mistaken. I guess it's Latifat, right? Hope I'm not giving somebody's glory to another person.
I think it's Farida.
Farida, sorry, Farida. Okay, yeah, it's Farida. I don't think she's even on the call. Is she?
I am.
Okay, talk. So it's Farida. She talked about voting. So you can see digital identity. So people can use blockchain to prove their identity without relying on governments. No fake identities or fraud, as the records are tamper proof. So now, how does this actually works? It still makes use of the private and public key. You remember we talked about private and public key in our last class? Yeah, right? Or is it the first class? I think it's the second class. So we have employees, that's employer's private key. Employer, that's issuer, signs the credential containing the employee ID. So that's the person you are working with will use his private key to sign your ID. And then anytime maybe a government or anybody or any organization want to confirm, right? What they just need to do is to take this employer's public key and then use it to check that is this public key coming from the employer's this thing, was it actually the one that signed this particular employer's ID? If it is, this DID simply means decentralized ID actually. So take note of that. Anytime you see DID, simply decentralized ID. So just like here, they say employer's private key. Employer, that's the issuer, signs the credential containing the employee ID. Remember your private key in last class, your private key will sign the hash of the transaction. Then next, now the employer's public key. They say verify, it could be a government body, it could be anybody, can confirm the authenticity of the credential and who issued it without contacting the issuer. So they don't even need to contact your employer. Not like that they'll say provide reference letter or provide email, number, and name of your employer for them to call and check. No. By just this DID, they can just, what they just require is your employer's public key. And from there, they can verify whether truly this your DID is genuine or not. So that is it. So they say, okay, for example, Uport and Estonia. So you can check them out. They use blockchain for digital identities. So you can check Uport and Estonia. So this one lets you prove who you are without oversharing. So you don't need to go and say, what is your name? You say, where did you come from? Which country? Where were you born? Which year were you born? Which year will you die? You understand? If you die, will you go to heaven? You know, all those questions are not needed from you. So what you just need to do is to provide your DID, and then whosoever is your issuer, you provide his public and Viola. They will check and confirm whether you are truly the one or not. So the next one is voting systems, right? So blockchain makes voting secure and clear. So for example, these votes, they experimented it in the US. I'm not sure if they used it at the end, but I think they experimented it. So using blockchain for fair elections, unlike the one they did in Nigeria that they off IRF. Now you can't off blockchain. So that's it for digital identities and voting systems. So any question on that?
I have a question, sir.
Okay.
So for this voting system that we just mentioned about, unlike our regular voting system in Nigeria, whereby everybody goes out to go and cast their votes, sometimes they may not even have the opportunity to cast their vote because one MC will come and send them back to their house that they should not come outside and vote.
Exactly.
So now, if you are trying to implement this blockchain system of voting, you know, there are going to be applications that are the APIs will be linked with this blockchain technology.
Yes.
So this is my question now. For people that don't have proper understanding of the concept of cyber attacks, concept of malware and phishing, it's not possible for all these applications to be prone or vulnerable to these attacks when somebody wants to manipulate this voting system. We understand that the blockchain on its own is very secure. Now I'm talking about the applications that are linked with this blockchain network. It is not possible for it to be prone or vulnerable to this kind of cyber attacks.
Okay, I love this question. You are thinking you are thinking like an engineer, and it's a good one. So now, if you look at, unlike the traditional way of doing things, all right, blockchain makes use of what they call RPC. Don't ask me the full meaning. You can go and browse it. I just know what it will function. So RPC, and I think right now Bitcoin are working towards implementing IPC. yeah, which they, so according to them, is more secure. Well, I don't know. So that RPC now, it works. It doesn't work like API per se. It's more like something that connects you directly to the blockchain without any third party. So as such, it will be very difficult for any kind of cyber attack to attack that RPC. Because if you look at your normal Web 2, you have APIs. And then those APIs, if you are writing to them or you are reading through them, you're actually writing to a database. So they can easily attack your database and get also other information they want. Or they can take your database and then change some information and all of that. But now, number one, the blockchain is tamper-proof. On its own is secure. And the RPC, again, that's the communication channel between what you are doing from either your front end or from your this thing down to the blockchain itself is very, very secure. And one beautiful thing about it is that so far your RPC key, right? Because there's RPC key. So far your RPC key has not been compromised. You did not give it to anybody or whatsoever. Be rest assured that nothing is going to happen. But if your RPC key is what are they calling it? Compromised, or there's an issue. Okay, Emerson, you can go on. And so, okay, let me explain. And so if you keep your RPC safe, now since you are building a voting system, of course, you likely make use of one RPC. So you can build an application or a software, all right, that will make it that your RPC will be safe, like completely safe. What other people need to do is just to use the application to cast their vote. So everything will be processed through that same RPC. They themselves, the people casting the vote, don't need to have their own RPC to cast their vote. The only thing they need is probably a wallet address, which of course every wallet address is unique. And you can even decide to make it much more strict and say you can only vote with your digital identity and not even your wallet address. I don't know if you get what I'm saying, but all this one is still based on my own knowledge. It might not be the best way to go. It's just the way I feel like is the solution. But I believe there are better ways of implementation than what I just said right now. So Emerson, please go on.
All right, sir. It's not like I'm completely agreeing with what you're saying, but I just wanted to add another perspective.
Okay.
Yes. The voting system is something that I personally am very interested about. So when the topic came up, I was just keenly paying attention to the questions that were being raised. Yes, it is very, very possible to have a secure blockchain and mechanisms in place as far as the technology side is concerned. The other perspective I want to bring is the fact that there's always that human vulnerability when it comes to elections, when it comes to voting. People are always trying to figure out a way of breaking it. If the blockchain is secure, you move on to the next place, which is maybe like humans try to manipulate from using social engineering. So as engineers, it's our job to just make sure that as far as the technology side is concerned, like it is 100% solid. But then for for the human side, it is just the job of like the members on the team to try to teach people how to use the application very well and all. But then there will always be people or third-party agents or dark agents trying to manipulate the whole thing. So that's the perspective I wanted to give to class on Michael.
I love this perspective. You're actually right. Michael, please go on. I love this.
Thank you for that suggestion. I don't know your name. Sorry.
Emerson.
So, Emerson, thank you, Emerson. So I feel that people that try to develop these applications that are linked to the blockchain with RPC, they still have the obligation of sensitizing the rest of the population that's come. These are the risks attached to this kind of thing. So when those people see those risks, it is very, very easy for them to be able to identify it so that they won't fall victims. You have a nice point, Emerson. Thank you.
I'm taking it, Michael.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I'm passionate about that. Yeah, I'm taking it.
So is a very yes. So is like what Emerson talked about is very, very important. Social engineering. In fact, we are all social animals, according to people that call us animals. Yeah. God that created us call us man. So people decided that we are higher animals, no problem. So far they will say we'll be higher animals, they too na animal, no problem. I don't get issue with that one. So we are social animals, and as a result of that, there's always that vulnerable part of us that is open to social engineering, right? For instance, sorry to use Nigeria election, there are some people that voted what they voted and who they voted because probably he came from the same part of the world where they came from, or probably they are related to him one way or the other. Understand? So there's always that side of it and all of that. So it's always good to look at the aspect of sensitizing people. You understand? Like one old woman now, you can tell her that just press A, whereas A is not a choice. So a choice might be B, and then somebody is saying press A, and how to you press A because please just tell me the easy way out of this thing. What was you say? We are used to paper, you use your thumb. Which one is you press something? You understand? So thank you for that. So for those that are thinking of developing a robust voting system, right? Farida and Co, please take note of that. Very important. All right. So any other
Press
question?
A and collect right.
So any other question under digital identity and voting system before we move to NFTs and before we move to monkeys? Because I know many people used to look at NFT as monkeys. Before we look at apes and monkeys. Okay. So NFTs, right? That's non-fungible tokens. What they do is that they prove ownership of unique digital assets. Now, if you look at, for instance, there are physical assets that are unique, like your certificate. You can't say because, normally, like if you have a house as a father and you pass away, your son can actually inherit that house. Most especially if it's in your will to give that house to your son. But your son can inherit your certificate or your qualification. Let's say you have like 5 BSc, you have like 10 masters, you have like 15 PhD. Yeah, like your son cannot inherit any one of them. You understand? So things like that now, there's the digital part of it, and the digital aspect of such kind of properties that is unique to just an individual is known as NFTs. They call it non-fungible tokens. Now, your normal crypto coin, Bitcoin, Ethereum, they are all fungible tokens. They are all FTs. And why are they fungible token? The same token, the same thing, the same creation. If like 10 people have Ethereum, maybe one have 10, another 20 like that. All 10 of them are holding the same kind of token. There's no difference. The Ethereum Mr. A has is the same with the Ethereum Mr. B has. The only difference is in probably the amount or the quantity, but they are all the same. They are of the same design, the same everything. But NFT is not like that. I can have 3 people can have music, right? But the music can be very different from each other based on how it's being made. 3 people can have the same art, but the art will be different based on how it's being made. So all those kind of things is what is known as non-fungible tokens. All right. So prove ownership of unique digital assets like art, music, and collectibles. Now, why did they use art, music, and collectibles? If you check it, if you ask 2 different people to draw something, no matter how good they are, even if they are the same level, the drawing can never be the same. Yes, it will look the same, but if you pay attention to the diagrams or the artwork, you'll find some level of differences in those artwork. All right. The same thing with music. That's why you can see a person will sing a song and then another person will come and do the remix of the song. In as much as the song is the same, you can always sense the difference, either in the beat, in the intonation, the voice, the vocals, the sound, the instruments, and all of that. You understand? So now say they are one of a kind digital items like art or collectibles. Artists and creators can earn directly. So it means when you are talking about NFTs, you look at mostly artists and also creators. You understand? You can have Sabinus and Basketmouth joke about the same thing. But whether you like it or not, because of they themselves as individuals are unique, the way Sabinus will do his own will be different from the way Basketmouth will do his own. You understand? So that is why you see NFTs majorly is around artistic work and creators' work. So in this case, no middlemen. Like music now, right now, majority of our musicians, they are being signed under a label. And for every amount they are making, there's a commission the label has. Why? Because it's the label that push their song, it's the label that go out and look for partnerships for them, it's the label that manage them, you understand, and all of that. So, but in this case now, through NFT, you don't need a middleman. Because another thing label does is that they help to secure your music. They help to fight against piracy. That's those days, Sha. Right now, it's quite difficult to fight piracy. So that's those days, actually. So another thing is verifiable authenticity. So it can be checked that truly you are the owner of that particular art or that music or that collectible. Why? Because the ownership is actually recorded on the blockchain directly. So nobody can just go and say you want to change it. It's not possible. So example of that, you have CryptoKitties is a platform that buys and breeds unique digital cards, right? So another one is NBA Top Shot. So it's like video highlight of basketball plays. You know those football highlights now where they show where Messi score a goal or where Ronaldinho dribble from middle of field and he later score plus he dribble goalkeeper too and all of that. So all those, there's a this thing platform called NBA Top Shot where this one is just highlight of basketball plays owned by people. All right. So what's the advantage of these NFTs and digital ownership of a thing? Is that creators sell directly to you. They don't need to sell through a third party. And of course, if they are selling directly to you, you know that it will be more affordable. Affordable in the sense that if they are to sell through a third party, they might give the third party that I'm willing to sell this thing for $10,000. Now, of course, the third party will not look at you and say and sell it for you $10,000. The third party can add like $2,000 on top and sell to you like $12,000, and then they take their $2,000 as their commission. You understand? So by creators selling directly to you, they give you at that set price. And now, since the creators are the ones selling it to you, you are sure that you are the one that truly own that digital stuff. You understand? Not that a third party that sell land to Mr. A, that same land you sell to Mr. A, you still go and sell to Mr. B. That same thing you still go and sell to Mr. C. So I hope you guys get it. So these are just like an illustrator of an NFT record on the blockchain. So you see, this NFT is just the name, and then you have this one should be an artwork. Yeah. So any question?
This NFT.
Okay.
Those
Yes.
is NFT, is it truly decentralized or is it does it hold place in a marketplace like marketplaces? Is it marketplaces that is holding it, like holding the NFT, or is it truly decentralized?
Okay. Majorly, right? Marketplaces is where you can actually go and sell. You can sell, you can buy, either buy from them or you sell. It's just like you have a warehouse. If you have a warehouse as a seller, it's not in the warehouse you'll be selling now. You need a market. Although you can have a market in your warehouse, yes, but you need a market where you sell it. So all those marketplaces like where you can go and sell and as well as buy. But majorly NFTs are on the blockchain. For instance, now I think in my StackNet wallet, yes, I have an NFT, and the NFT is just proof of okay, I did class. I took a Cairo bootcamp, and then they gave me that as an NFT. So and the NFT is unique to me. But unfortunately, that NFT, I can't sell it. It's just something that at any point in time I can come prove. Like if they ask me, say, have you done Cairo bootcamp with Cairo Stacknet? I can say yes. They can ask me, what is your proof? Now I can bring out that NFT as a proof. And because that NFT is unique to me, like somebody else cannot go and pick it up and use it as a proof again. Because why? They can verify and check whether it's really the owner or not by using my public key. Because why? It's attached to my own key. So the record is on the blockchain and the record is attached to my public key. So it can always be verified that, okay, I'm actually the owner. So I don't know if that answer your question.
Yes.
Okay, Michael. Okay. Thank you. So Michael, go on.
So I have a question. I want to ask, this NFT, is it limited to just artwork, music, and the likes, like you mentioned?
Yes, it's actually limited to things that are unique. Just like I mentioned when we started, like your certificate now is unique. So you can, anytime you want to build a digital certificate, you can build it as an NFT. Why? So that for everybody, the certificate is going to be unique to them. So you have to build it as an NFT. You understand? So you have to just check out things in the real world where you know that it's paramount that it's only one person that has it. Okay, for instance, your wife now. Your wife is meant for only you. So if you want to build a digital wife, it has to be an NFT. You I'm giving somebody project idea. You can start building husband and wife now. Use the NFT. Yes, because your wife is expected that your wife is your wife and she's meant for you. Your husband is your husband, is meant for you. You understand? And just as some husband has to marry 5 wives, it means husband can be FT. Or in India, wife that has to marry plenty husband. So in that case, the wife can be FT and not NFT because it's not only one person that owns the woman or the man. So I don't know if you get what I'm saying. So it has to be something that is unique, that okay, for this thing to work well, it has to be unique to this person.
Okay, let me. I still have another question.
Okay.
I want to know the difference now between NFT and tokenization.
Okay. Tokenization is not part of my class. I believe you will be taught in your next class by Mentor Martin, if I'm not mistaken. All right. You'll be taught token economics, and all is still part of tokenization. All right. So when you talk of, okay, let me even ask a question. What is a token, first of all? Anybody can answer it. It mustn't be Michael that asks the question. So from there, I'll build whatever I want to build. So what is a token? If they say like a token, what does it mean?
It's like, I think it's like a percentage or a part of something.
Okay, beautiful. I love that. So NFT is actually a token too. Even from the name, it's a token. Hey, non-fungible tokens. So it's a token too. So does that answer your question? Or you are not still clear? Or maybe I did not get the question well.
I'm not clear, but I'll read about it so I'll understand better.
Okay. So no problem. So NFTs is a token. Fungible tokens, they are still tokens. So anything in the digital space. All right. Okay, you can go on. Adios.
It's a question.
Okay.
Can a land be converted to a digital ownership on a blockchain? Like,
Yes, it can.
okay.
It can. In fact, there is a proposal for it. I don't know if it has been implemented on Ethereum or not. I don't know, but you can go and do more search on it. But yes, it can.
Okay.
Yes.
Because that will really, if we embrace it in this part of the world, at least, because the problem is a very hectic problem.
Yes.
Imagine you selling like a particular land for 5%,
Person.
and then taking them to the court at the end of the day, the highest bidder wins the
Exactly.
whole piece because of the power.
I can
That
relate.
work is
I can relate to that. In fact, you can even look at that as a project idea, right? You see all these things
Very
you people are
crazy.
bringing. You can look at that as a project idea and then develop it more further. It's possible.
Yes.
Yes. So please go on.
Okay.
Go on, Olorufemi.
Yet, what is referring to is what he said is referred to as a tokenization of real estate. Is a project already running.
Oh, wow. That means you can just maybe look for that particular real estate, right? And then look at how they implemented their own and tailor his own to lands. Okay, yeah, lands are
Exactly.
still part of real estate,
Yes,
actually.
real estate. Yes, is already running. So you can just go online, look at their how they structure theirs, and then make his own unique.
I love
That
this.
was where my question even came in, sir. That's why I wanted to know the difference between the NFTs and tokenization, and if NFTs is only limited to artwork.
Okay, no. NFT is not limited to artwork. Remember I said is NFT. Once you talk of NFT, it has to be something that is unique. For instance, you can't have land that is the same land. The land here is the land here. You understand? So as such, you can treat a land as an NFT because it is unique to that particular area. So Tech
Okay, sir.
Explorer. Yeah, Michael, you're welcome. Tech Explorer, you are raising up your hand.
Bring this scenario. If an NFT like marketplace shut down, there was like this the I still have like the NFT I have, like if I own an NFT, does it
Yes.
still belong to me? Number two, that is my first question. And number two is how can I protect my NFT from like hacks and all this kind of thing?
Okay, just like I said, your NFT is you are the owner of your NFT. Is recorded on the blockchain, right? With your address as being the owner. So your public address, anybody can use your public address to access and confirm whether you are really the owner or not. With your private key, you can access your NFT. So there are NFTs that are transferable. There are those ones that are not transferable. You understand? For instance, just like I say, the certificate NFT I got from Stacknet, then when I did their program, I can't transfer it to another person. They even stated it there that it is non-transferable. You understand? So it means if anybody can have access to your private key, if you have any NFT that is transferable, they should be able to transfer it. You understand? So the way to keep your NFT safe is to keep your private key safe. And just like I say, marketplaces, right? They are there for you to buy and sell. So if a marketplace closed down, your NFT is recorded on the blockchain. So they are not closing down with your NFT unless you like move the ownership of your NFT from you to the platform. Maybe there are platforms that before you can sell, you have to move the ownership to the platform. And then in that case, in a situation where your NFT is still with them, they are still the owner of your NFT and they close down, it means they have gone with your NFT. I don't know if you understand. So Farida, you can go on.
You've answered my initial question, but I have another question I had wanted to ask.
Okay.
So, like you said, NFTs are digital assets, right? But you also made mention of an example using land.
Yes.
Now, my personal question is it possible to have, like, say, non-digital, something non-digital, let's say an artwork, like a handmade artwork, right?
Yeah.
But then it's converted into like a digital asset in a way, maybe like its ownership itself is digitalized. So is it possible for that to be also like under the basis of NFT, or like is that not possible?
Yes, it is possible.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. So I could see was it Moses that was raising up his hand? I think after
Sorry, I
Farida.
have a question.
Okay, sorry, Christiana. Sorry. Okay, please go on.
Based on what Farida asked, how is it now possible? Like, I want
Okay.
to know.
Okay, how is it possible?
Yes, you said, like, let me say I made I sculpted an image, right? Like,
Yeah.
is it that I will just snap the picture and put it like, okay, now me own this digital asset? Is that what it is? So I just want to
Okay.
know how it's possible.
It is possible, but from one point of understanding, right? Now, there are dictators. There are some tools, some technological tools that are used to dictate things like physical arts, drawings, and the rest. That's why you see when scientists do a kind of dig up, they'll tell you that this particular bone have stayed on Earth for 400 and something years. You know, be asking yourself, how did they know? You understand? There's a name they call it in chemistry. Honestly, I've forgotten. But if I remember, I'll let you know. But if any of you remember, please, you can speak out. So now,
It's
if you say,
carbon
okay, you
dating.
want to, good carbon dating. Kai, this Michael Sabi book. Well. Thank you, Michael. So carbon dating, right? So if you have a drawing, now you want to convert it to an NFT in such a way that, okay, anybody that gets this NFT, the person will get the physical drawing. I'm just bringing up an assumption. So now, number one, when did you draw that thing? What material did you use in drawing it? And all of that. So from the person's end, he can confirm using carbon dating if truly when you say you claim you drew it, that was when you drew it. And if the materials you use in the artwork is the same material that the tool is dictating, so they can use all those ones to confirm, to make sure that the artwork they are getting from you as a digital NFT physically is what they are getting. So I'm thinking that's one of the ways. It's not as if I'm really deep into NFTs, but just like I always tell you, you can always make your own research, and more things will come to light. So I don't know. Are you okay with that, Christiana?
Yes, I'm okay. And then I wanted to ask another one, like, let's say I have, like, I want to sell NFTs right now.
Yes.
Is it like I have to just create one and then, like, let's say you go to a photocopy, a cafe, you print
Yes.
one and you photocopy plenty. Is that how it works?
Honestly, you have to go and make research on that one.
Can I
Okay.
answer, please?
Okay, please, Mike, answer.
There's a platform called OpenSea that you can sell your NFTs. You can buy and sell
Yes, I'm
NFTs.
aware of that. Like, what I'm trying to say is that if you know, like, if you make the original copy, like the first one now, right, of your NFT, you make the first one. Is it that when you want to sell, do you have to, is there a way that, like, let's say you have an original document, let's say my certificate now, and I want to apply for job. There's original and there's copy. And somebody say, I want to see. Is it that the NFTs all I want to sell? Is it that the NFTs you give them is how do you get it original, or is it that you have to make photocopies of that to sell to many people? Like, that's my question. I am aware of OpenSea, like
Okay.
OpenSea, yes, and is it Boot Ape? Or be something like,
Something.
yes, that they sell. I'm aware of all those ones.
Okay, so
I
let
feel,
me
well,
answer. Let me
okay.
answer. Sorry. Let me answer. It's a good one, Christian. So he reach where na buying and selling where money the all of Nasabia, no problem. Okay, so now every picture, every image, every video, every music have what they call metadata. In the metadata, you have the size, that's the dimension, the date is being created, and everything. Now, if you have a digital certificate, right? You have a certificate. Definitely, there's a particular day they gave you that certificate. There's a particular time they gave you. There's a quality the certificate has. There's a size the certificate has. There's a weight the certificate has. Now, it will be very difficult, right, to duplicate that same thing again. Like, for instance, if you photocopy the certificate, the photocopy will be lighter. If you decide to photocopy a heavier paper, it might be more heavier. The size might not be exactly the same. You understand? The weight might not be exactly the same because in your original certificate, it could be a combination of printed and handwritten. In your photocopy, it's just pure ink, just the pure printed. So the weight will be a bit different. So if you want to convert your normal physical to what are they calling it, to digital, right? You have to take all those metadata into cognizance and all of that. So if you are bringing in something similar to that, there will definitely be a change in the metadata or something like that. So you bringing the first one and bringing the second one, they are two different things entirely. Why? Because their metadata did not match in any way. So by the time you convert it to an NFT, both of them will not match in any way. So that's from my own perspective, obviously. I don't know if anybody has a better answer, they
Okay.
can actually come up with
Wait,
it.
it's like people don't understand my question. Oh.
Okay.
Yes, let's say I sculpt, let's say I did an NFT, and
Mhm.
then that's the original one. Then I want to be reselling and reselling and reselling to make money. Yeah, is it that, like, is there how it's, is it that is the original one then I is duplicated, or is it that I don't know how to explain it. Is it that I have an original copy of the main NFT and then I want to be reselling to people? Let's say I I went to OpenSea and then it's $2 for one, like
Mm.
I said. Is it that is the original one that is being duplicated, or is it that I have a way to make, like, I don't know how to
Okay.
explain. I don't know if someone
If
understands.
you can sell the original.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Sorry, can you hear me?
Okay.
Tech Explorer, go on.
Like in the when I read about NFTs a bit, they say that NFT cannot be duplicated. The original one cannot be duplicated as traditional digital files cannot be duplicated. That original one you have, that is the only NFT that can be. But you can sell the original one, but you cannot duplicate it to multiple NFT. That is the
Ah,
thing.
so wait, you mean I can't sell one NFT for 50,000 people? It has to be one person.
Okay, now
That's fraud
Christiana.
now.
Christiana,
I
yes,
want
it's
to make
fraud,
money.
but let me answer your question. Now, just like I talked about the certificate, hope you know in your school, if you graduate, you are all receiving the same certificate, true of us.
True, true, true.
Now, what is different in the certificate? Name,
Yes,
department,
yes,
right? Name,
yes,
department, and qualification. Is it BSc? Is it MSc? Is it BA? You understand? So
yes.
now, if you are duplicating an artwork to sell as NFT, there will definitely be some differences in the metadata. That's what I'm saying. If there's no difference in the metadata, you can't duplicate it. So there have to be a difference in the metadata. And the difference could be that the size of this one is 12 kilobytes. The size of the next one is 11 kilobytes. So, but you can go and search more on it though. You can
Okay,
go and search
I
more.
will just search more.
You search more. So, Johnson, please
Because
go on.
if I want to sell, I'm seeing the heavy working. Let's say, it's just like I have a skill, I can bake cake, right?
Yeah.
And then I know the amount of ingredients to use in a particular cake to produce it
Yes.
over and over again, right?
Yes.
And I produce one of
Yes.
that cake, and I want to, and now 50 people now say, okay, do that same cake for me. Now
Mm.
he's in the digital world. Do I have to take that manpower and start creating that cake from beginning? Or I've already created the cake already now. Since it's the digital world, I should just know how to get it again.
Good. If you want to do that, if you draw a diagram where the man is laughing, duplicate it. The next one, let the man be crying. Add tears to the laughter.
Oh my
You
god.
understand? The next one, add it that the man is angry with tears. The next one, add it that is angry without tears. So that way you have multiple of it and you say, because somebody might be happy with a man that is happy and crying, and that person might be more happy with having an artwork of a man being angry and crying. So please go on. The next person. You're welcome.
Yeah, yeah. To add, to clarify her on that question on NFT. See,
Yeah.
how NFTs work is that yes, you can have one NFT, but just like Asa said, there's what they call metadata in NFTs. So even if it's one picture, but the metadata could change in numbers or maybe the colors, except you want to do one NFTs, but you will change the color. But just go and study more about NFT metadata. You will understand more. That's just what I have to contribute.
Thank you. Thank you. So you heard right, Christiana. If you study, because NFT,
Yeah.
the creation of NFT, the key creation in creation of NFT is those metadata. So just go and read on it. You understand more.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Oluwafemi, go on.
Yes, the key. Yes, thank you, sir. The key ingredient for NFT is what it was stated in the definition is the uniqueness. So when you're trying to replicate, you are taking away the uniqueness of that particular item you want to sell as an NFT. So what makes the NFT unique is that metadata you mentioned. So when there's a change to that metadata, then it is no longer unique to that particular item. It's not another item that is unique in its own sense. So you selling multiple selling multiple NFTs that are the same is not permitted in that ecosystem. So it's only because when you're selling artwork, there are some particular artworks that they are unique. That's what makes them expensive. That's what gives them the value. So what gives NFTs values is uniqueness. When that uniqueness is in question, then it's no longer an NFT. It's just you trying to sell artwork. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Olorufemi. I'm happy. This class is sound. My God, I love this. Michael, please go on.
So I just want to top up what he was asking. So let's take, for instance, take NFT as a $50 transaction that you want to make. It has a particular hash. So once you make that transaction, the hash is unique to that transaction. You cannot say, oh, you now want to make another $50 transaction. You now expect the hash to be the same with the previous $50 transaction you just made. That's where the I don't know what they just called it now for the NFT part. That's where it comes in to make it, the metadata. That's where the metadata comes in to make it unique just to that particular NFT. So you cannot replicate or duplicate it.
Thank you, Michael. I'm a very intelligent student. Imagine I know Sabi this year, come class they teach you now. Hey, I just they cry now. Okay, Jetro, please go on.
Okay, I think I don't understand her question much, but to give like a clarity to it, Christiana, if for each artwork you want to digitize it and then sell it, that means if 50 people ask you to do that same thing, you do it 50 times because each one is unique. That's what I just want to say. And I want to give a relational like clarity on the sculpture and then landed properties, because I am opportune to know a bit about landed properties. For a land, if you want to digitize, there is already a technology that you can use, like your position in knowing the longitude and latitude of a particular piece of land. Now, that longitude and latitude, which you take from your GPS, you give that particular parcel of land like a unique longitude and latitude. Now, that technology can avoid litigation, which is multiple sales of land to different people. So already it is unique. Now, bringing it on the blockchain again will make it more secure. All right. So you cannot sell one particular piece of land to multiple people, because there are already technologies that will make you to do. If it's a parcel of land to one person, once you sell it, you sell it. And I think that's what blockchain wants to do, bringing in security for assets. Yeah. That's what I
Awesome. Thank you for that. So you hear, because every longitude and latitude is unique. Two places cannot have the same exact longitude and latitude so far is on this planet Earth. All right, so thank you for that, Jetro. So Olorufemi, please go on.
Thank you, sir. I think the only way you can actually sell a particular piece of artwork or a particular piece of item on NFT to multiple persons is when I think OpenSea allows that, when multiple persons come together to pool resources to own a particular artwork. Like, let's say, for instance, an artwork is around $3,000, and then people, okay, I want to buy like 3% of that artwork. I want to buy like 5% of that. So that allows joint ownership. Like, that's the only medium through which OpenSea allows people to have more to sell your NFT to multiple people. Thank you, sir.
Multiple people. I love this. Funny enough, I never knew that is allowed, if not until now. I love that joint ownership. to
But
reduce
there's
cost on one particular person. Okay, continue. Somebody wants to speak.
something like, let's refer to Mona Lisa painting. You know, printed Mona Lisa is not the same thing with the original painted Mona Lisa. Let's just
Oh,
take it. So, yes, that is not the same thing. So, the original NFT
yes.
doesn't like the printed um Mona Lisa. Let me just use image. Mona Lisa image doesn't
Yeah.
clarify that the real owner of that painting. So
Hmm.
you cannot like own that thing like when you are like have a duplicate of it. The
Hmm.
original one painting have already been recorded in the blockchain. So
Blockchain.
if you come in with a like duplicated NFT, it will not verify your like allow you that kind of thing.
Hmm. That's good. Awesome. I've learned a lot. Okay, Emerson Junior. I think that will be the final person who take on NFT. Is that these people? You people like NFT very well, oh. Emerson Junior, God.
Okay, so I also wanted to add to what the last speaker just said, and then also share this perspective or points that if we look at, like, I don't know how many people have like gone to check the story behind Zion blockchain. Yeah, like the founder of the blockchain bought an artwork from a prominent artist, and then he kind of created, like, he burnt it on live stream that everybody saw that he burnt that artwork, and then he now created an NFT for that same artwork he burnt, and then sold the NFT for 3 times the amount. I think it was like $30,000 or thereabout, and then he ended up selling it for like 90 something $1,000. So I'm trying to respond to that lady's comment about how can she turn something into an NFT? Yeah, like the world is evolving every day, and we can see new ways of making NFTs. I'm sure when this whole NFT thing started, it was just digital artists, people who can use CorelDRAW or make digital paintings and all of that. But now we are seeing people are using their creativity in different ways. So as far as technology or the blockchain technology and NFT particularly is concerned, we'll keep seeing different ways where people would make something and turn it into an NFT, and then everybody knows that this is one of one. Like the way that the founder of Zion did on live stream, where a lot of people were watching him burn that, and you know that apart from this, it does not exist again. So the value now shifted from the original painting to the NFT he created. So there will be different ways where people will use their creativity and their innovativeness to make NFTs. So you also that asked the question can also create your own NFT in a creative way that you see to shop the world and then key into it or buy it, make it more valuable. And that's what I wanted to say.
Awesome. Wow. I never knew this story. This is good, truly, because by he burning that physical one, people will know, oh, this one he doesn't have any other copy apart from the digitalized copy.
Yes, sir.
Oh,
Yes,
that's
sir.
awesome. That's awesome. Thank you. So, Christina, you hear about in
I
case
feel.
you want to do an NFT cake, after doing the cake, you can burn the cake and then upload the picture so that they'll know they are the only one that will have the picture of the cake.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, so let's continue.
Cake to eat. I
Right.
can just help her to eat the cake.
Okay, it's true. She can send it to me as well. She can share it and send my own part. So Web3, then we'll do video stream of all of us eating it together.
Exactly, Sarah. Exactly.
So let's continue. Let's look at Web3 and metaverse, right? So Web3 is the next version of the internet, obviously, and this Web3 now is powered by blockchain. That's what is making it unique, and decentralization, where you control your data and not big companies. Now, that's the difference between actually Web 2 and Web 3. Now, Web 2, you can write, You can decide to go publish a video on YouTube. You can decide to go publish an article on Medium, publish an article on Hashnode, right? But now, and you can as well watch other people's video, read other people's article and publication. But the reality is that you don't really own this, right? YouTube is that Tech Explorer. Can you please mute your mic? Okay, thank you. So now you don't really own those things. Why? YouTube can decide to wake up one day and ban your channel, or can decide to wake up one day and say your video does not it's like it does not meet with one of their law and whatsoever it is, and they pull the video down, and possibly you don't even have another copy of that video. So it means that video is gone. If YouTube decide to fold tomorrow, we'll no longer do YouTube again. All your videos and everything is gone. The same thing with Medium. If Medium decide to close markets, it means all your article there is gone, unless you have a record somewhere and all of that. So in Web2, you don't really own your data. But now, that's where Web3 is coming to change everything. For Web3 now, your data is your own. Nobody can go to the blockchain and say, that boy, he's not agreeing with what I'm saying, and I'm more powerful than him. Well, pull that thing he's saying, pull it down, I don't want to see it. No, that one can't happen, because the blockchain can't be changed and all of that. So it's an example of this is actually, instead of logging in a website with your Google account and whatsoever, you are logging in with your blockchain wallet. All right. Now, another thing is metaverse. Now, metaverse is also one aspect of technology that is powered by blockchain. So it's a virtual world. You know, now we are in this our real world, right? Now, this one is a virtual world where you can live, you can walk, you can play. I believe some of you must have had a glimpse of this virtual world. That's if you play virtual reality games, that game that you wear something, and then in fact, there was one I saw, the guy was just shouting. I think he was playing game that have to do with zombie, and as if the zombie was coming to bite him. If you see the way he was shouting, he was jumping. So I've never played games like that, but I think at some they do look real. I think there's a level of they look so real that you think is actually happening. Just like how sometimes in your dreams you think is happening in real life, until when you wake up you now realize it's a dream. All right. So it's a virtual world where you live, you walk, or you play, and it is powered by blockchain, just like I said. Right. So in this digital world too, people can own digital lands. They can have digital houses. They can have digital assets, digital clothes, and the rest. You understand? And in this digital world, you actually interact using NFTs and crypto. So for like all those digital assets like land and the rest that are unique, will probably be an NFT. Whereas for what you use in buying and selling, it will definitely be crypto. All right. So example, Decentralized. So you can check on this platform. Okay, somebody even dropped something. GameFi NFTs. Okay. So this Decentralized now, it lets you buy virtual land and build on it. So you can see people are no longer even building on this world where we are in now. Now they are moving virtual. Right. So this is just it about Web3 and metaverse, how blockchain is powering Web3 and also how is powering metaverse. So any question before we move on? So all these ones are still under the future of decentralization. Yes, Web3 is already there, metaverse is already there, but they are still in the infant stage. That's why I see they talk about they are still under future of decentralization. They are still in the infant stage. There's still many things that are yet to be done. So that's why they are still in their infant stage. So they are still developing constantly. So any question? Okay. So let's look at decentralized AI and computing. So that's another future of decentralization. So what's the decentralized AI? So it's actually AI that runs on many computers, just like how you have peer-to-peer. So it's the same thing too, but this time around, it's not the Bitcoin record that is being run by this node. Instead, it's an AI that is being run by all these computers that are interconnected to each other. You understand? So this AI now, there's no single computer that owns it. All the computers running it has a part of the AI. You understand? So it lets multiple computers work together without one company controlling the data. So now, instead of you having open AI, ChatGPT, Gemini, where Gemini now, Google is the sole person controlling the AI, their AI. ChatGPT, OpenAI is the sole people controlling their AI. XAI, Grok, XAI are the sole people controlling their AI. This one, you have an AI that runs in multiple computers. So that no single person is actually controlling it. So you can have unrestricted access because no single person is saying, no, we will not give this person access. And I don't know, probably for those of you that don't know, this decentralized AI is part of DePIN. I know some of you know of DePIN, DEPIN, Decentralized Physical Infrastructure. I believe some of you used to run, now they do as if we know they hunt for airdrop. Maybe when they do grass. When I no do node for here, when I no do node pay. When I do node pay, when I do grass, because when I cash out, when I no one talk, so like all those like node pay now, right? If you look at them, node pay, you look at grass, if you look at down or distribute .ai, that's what they are trying to achieve. They are trying to achieve a kind of decentralized AI where different computers connected to the same network can pool resources together to be able to run AI. Because, you know, to be able to run AI, you need a very high computing power and plenty resources to some extent. So by putting different computers together, you can achieve that, having a pool of resources and all of that. So something that is only an organization or somebody with plenty money that can pool, you find that having plenty computers connected with their computing power linked together, they can actually achieve the same thing. All right. So for example, you have Ocean Protocol. So this allows users to share AI models securely. Now, another aspect of decentralization, the future of decentralization, is decentralized computing. So this one, it shares your computer's power for big tasks. So let's say, for instance, you are editing a video, or you are doing all this cartoon animation, right? You are doing a cartoon animation. You know, sometimes this cartoon animation, to render the cartoon, it takes much resources. So let's say your computer doesn't have that much resources. You can actually use this decentralized computing to get more computing power, to rent more computing power from other computers. And then once you are done, of course, you have to pay, probably in terms of crypto, or you pay a token for getting that level of computing power from those people. And that token will now be shared among the people that actually released their computers computing power for you. So an example is Golem. You can check it. So it lets people rent computing power for video editing or say science. So probably maybe data science or so. So any question. So you can see this is like an illustration where each devices are connected to each other and all of that. And what they are sharing is a computing power. That's the CPU and the likes. So any question before we move further? Okay. So let's look at adoption challenges and potential solutions. So we are still looking at the future of decentralization because, you know, it's not everybody that have adopted blockchain. It's still in the adoption stage. Some people are even struggling to understand it. Some people don't even know that there's anything like blockchain. Even mention blockchain to somebody is looking at you that what is blockchain? Why some people know about it, but they are yet to accept it. Some people are yet to understand it. So let's look at what are the adoption challenges and potential solution, right? So the challenges, number one challenge is scalability. So when the blockchain, it can get slow when you have a lot of users on it. You understand? Although some layer one are actually looking towards that, like Solana, Aptos, they can scale in millions without getting slow. So, but other like the OGs like Ethereum, Bitcoin, they still have issues with having many users on top at the same time. So, and the solution to this scalability issue are layer two. That's why you see layer two blockchain coming up. All right, like your Base, like your what are they calling it? Your Stacknet, your base, there's this one now that is popular now. I've even forgotten the name. Lisk. If you like say you chop the airdrop, Abi. Okay. So Lisk, yeah. So that's why you see they are coming up. They are all coming up. Why? To boost the speed of some of these layer one blockchain that has scalability issues. So next is usability. So for people that are new, okay, imagine those of you that don't have any knowledge on blockchain that started this bootcamp last week. Imagine the information overload that you people have been having till now. Imagine you are giving that same information to another person. In fact, even you that is not new to blockchain, you still find out that some of those information are much to digest and understand. Now imagine you giving to somebody that does not even understand blockchain at all. So some of these things will even discourage people from actually wanting to adopt it, because people be like, I just the air block, the air hash. Say before you know na ice. Before you know, go yeah, another thing. Understand? So the next thing is now for this usability, right? We can make better apps. We can make blockchain to be very easy. How? I talked about it. We can abstract a lot of things. Things that we know this thing is not even necessary for this user. For instance, now imagine you want to open a Facebook account. Facebook will not have to start explaining to you that, you know, if you open an account, your account will be saved in a database, and that database will have a database backup. In case that database fail, we'll have backup of your information, so that anytime you log in, you post something, it will be stored. If you go back, you can still get it. So imagine Facebook telling you all these stories before you open account. To open the account itself will tire you. So we can do that level of abstraction, that Web2 has done. You can also do that level of abstraction on blockchain product in such a way people don't need to even know everything that is happening behind the scene. They just need to know why they should use that thing and why that thing is a better application than every other application. All right. So next is the regulation. So for regulation, blockchain in general is not regulated adequately. All right. You can't really say this is a fixed law when it comes to using the blockchain. There's no really fixed law. In fact, some countries, their government even ban it totally. Why some accept it? Some are still in the process of accepting. Why some, they don't even care. Like Nigeria now, they don't even care. Whether you use it or not. Why place like US, they can be very strict when it comes to blockchain. Even not that now that Donald Trump is president, I believe he has opened up the country. Even though formally they were a little bit strict to anything that have to do with crypto. Places like France and UK. France and UK are very open to crypto, most especially France. They are very, very open to crypto. Yeah. So another one is, so for this regulation now, we can bring in clear laws. So we can bring in rules that help but not hinder. Because if you are bringing in rules to hinder blockchain, is another issue. Because you are trying to say that you are trying to stop or limit the potential or the adoption. So yours is to bring in rules that will help probably checkmate the activities of people using it, the activities of the blockchain providers themselves and all of that, to make sure that nobody is being cheated and all of that. So any question? I think we have come to the end of our class. So any question, any additional? I enjoyed today's class. God. This class is superb. So
I have a question, sir.
Okay, go on.
There you had something to do with Starknet, in which they gave you a token, right?
Yeah.
And the token is something that cannot be shared.
Yes.
Sorry, NFT.
Yes.
And you said it cannot be shared.
Yes.
So I feel the reason why they restricted the possibility of sharing it is because they wanted it to be only unique to you. Because anybody that did not attend the training shouldn't have access to get that NFT. Am I right?
Exactly. You understand? Me, I'm very sure that if they have made it open that you can sell it, I'm very sure that many people that attended, they will sell it. Trust Niger man, you they play. All right. So any other question? So this is just an overall of what we did right today, of what we did: decentralization, blockchain, how it uses consensus, node, voting to stay decentralized, blockchain, how it enables DeFi, NFTs, digital identity, supply chain tracking, and more. And then also the future of decentralization, where we have Web3, we have the metaverse, and we have AI on blockchain. So this one is just the process by which data or transaction is being like taken. I think we looked at this in the first class, so but I just kept it here for the sake of emphasis, right? Where you have new data, and then you have its mined on a block, and then you have it broadcasted. We talked about broadcasting, where every node will broadcast the new block, and then once it's approved, it's being added permanently, and all of that. So we would have discussed this, but I'm telling you, we have finished all this discussion before we even started. That NFT, I think we have even discussed almost everything here, if I'm not mistaken. How could decentralization impact your country or daily life? We talked about it. We talked about real estate. We talked about land, where it even helps to curtail reselling of land, where somebody sell one land, he's still going to sell it to another person again, and all of that, right? So, okay, I don't think we have done this. So what do you think? Will bank disappear because of DeFi? Can somebody help us? Like, what do you think? Do you think bank will disappear because of DeFi?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. So why?
Well, not everybody may want to adopt the decentralized finance because everybody have their own skepticism. So you cannot say because you believe in it, that means the rest of the population of people will now believe in it. Do you understand what I'm saying? So everybody will be, it's just like a percentage of population that may just want to stick to DeFi.
Yeah, you are right. You are right. Yeah, right. So there'll always be banks, yeah, because there'll always be people that want bank. Even those that accept DeFi, you find out that they still make use of banks. All right. They still have bank accounts, some still have savings, money in their bank account and all of that. So any other person? So also the third question, would you trust voting on blockchain instead of paper ballot?
Absolutely.
Okay, beautiful. Okay, Farida number one. In fact, if Farida did not believe, we'll just close the class.
So that their hands up, like Farida and some other people.
Oh, please speak. Oh, if your hands is up, you know me, I'm not seeing. Christiana, you can go on.
Okay. For the second one, he said, do you think banks will disappear because of DeFi?
Yes.
Well, I would say for now, no, but I think this is a generation whereby we'll come to a point where we'll give birth to other persons. It is how we pass down this Web3, and it is how it's being passed down that it would either impact whether the next generation will take on it, or they would. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying.
Yes.
Like, let me make an example with our native language. It is how a family pass down the language to their younger, like their children. That's how you impact if they will be speaking the language or if they will not speak the language. So for now, it's leaving DeFi or DeFi disappearing because of banks. It's not just dependent alone whether some people will adopt it or not. It is how is from the side of a layman, from also the side of engineers, from also the side of developers. Like it's a whole total package. We have to come together to make the change, and change is not. It doesn't happen overnight. So for me, I would say it may happen. There's a possibility that it can, but it is how it's being passed down. Yes, it is how it's being passed down. Yes. And then, would you trust voting on blockchain instead of paper ballot? Of course, I would, because I'm not happy that they rig election and then the persons I vote for. It's like some of us have even voted around this part. It's like our vote did not count because we know they rigged it. We know they rigged the voting. Yes. So I would totally trust. But see, this country, I know, even if the blockchain cannot be tampered, Nigerians, they fear me. They fear Nigerians. I know they fear Nigerians.
They will use jazz tamper.
No fear.
They fear you.
No fear, Nigeria, nothing, nothing.
Yeah, they tell you, but honestly, I'm open. I'm open for that. I would really love that. Thank
Okay.
you.
Beautiful. I love that. So just to add to what she said, that number two question before the Farida and Adiosu comes up. All right. I feel what will happen is that to get to a point where banks begin to coexist with DeFi, right? Now, the reason why I say that is that the guys with money, the guys that have the liquidity, blockchain also needs liquidity. Liquidity means money. For instance, now, Ethereum needs liquidity. Why Ethereum has the amount of money it has in terms of values because of the liquidity it has. You understand? So anytime you want to go and withdraw your Ethereum, you want to convert it to cash, the cash is always available. So most of those guys with those liquidity, they are heavy bankers. Some of them are people that have bank, that owns bank and all of that. So what I'll say is that with time, you see that line that is dividing bank and DeFi will start disappearing little by little to get to a point where bank will now fully embrace DeFi. So that's what I think. Yeah. So, but just like Christiana said, anything can happen. So please, Farida, go on. Then after Farida, we have Adiosun.
So the point I was going to make was actually very similar to what you were saying, because I feel like just like how we have Web 2 being like an integration of Web 1, like it's not completely disappeared. There are still traces of it, like in our day-to-day activities. It's not like completely gone. And how like Web 3 would also be like Web 2. It's not completely gone. There's still traces of it, but it's still there. But then Web 3 is a better version of Web 2. So I feel like it's not like it's going to completely disappear. We're still going to have traces of it. There are still people that will still believe that I would rather use a bank than use all these like blockchains. Like, oh, it's too much information. I don't want to try it. It's disturbing my brain. So like I feel like there's people that would think that way.
Right.
That would still be like very strongly old-fashioned. I mean, even banks, let's be honest, before we started adopting the uses of bank, people were still kind of skeptical. They're like, I don't know how I feel about giving someone my money to keep for me. Do you get it? But like the gradual process, like what Christiana mentioned, yeah, it would also like integrate it into our daily lives and it will be better.
Yeah, beautiful. So Adiosun. Yeah, but
okay.
Okay, go on. Like, can you come close to your mic or?
Is it clear now? Is it okay?
Beautiful. It's clear now.
Okay, I think bank is a system and DeFi also is a system, but we can't say maybe on the long run. I don't think it's possible for DeFi to take over bank and will not work, because bank as DeFi also is upgrading. Bank also upgrading. We look at it from the sense of technology aspect. Bank is upgrading, DeFi is upgrading. Now the only thing that will happen in the long run is that all of them will have to coexist. It will reach a time whereby DeFi cannot do without banks and banks cannot do without DeFi. So that's
yes. I love this submission. Nice. So Olorufemi, please go on.
Yeah. Firstly about firstly, I want to say the sister that was saying that the election was rigged. Always put allegedly, so I will not come for you. Just put allegedly.
Abby.
So about DeFi and banks, the thing is, they can't actually cancel each other. Eventually, they are going to depend on each other. But I think what we should be looking at for is which one will be the most dominant in the long run. Will DeFi be more dominant, or will banks continue reigning? So that's what we should look out for. And from what Faida was saying, from what the other sister that was saying about, that was still making an emphasis about the election is, what will play, what would determine which will be the dominant factor would be the next generation. With this generation is in the foundation, what will determine which one will be more dominant will be is the coming generation. So is a discussion that continues into the coming generation. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Solomon. So the next person, Emerson Junior, go on.
Okay, I wanted to answer like I'll comment based on like the second question that says, do you think banks will disappear because of DeFi? And me, I want to strongly say yes, I believe so. Because
Okay.
yes, I strongly believe so. Even if you don't eradicate them, they can make them obsolete. It's just how we humans are wired. We always choose what gives us better productivity or better results. If you remember, like we used to have like um a point in time where if you want to get the recharge card, you have to go out of your house and go to the junction under the umbrella and get paid. Then you try the recharge cards, you come back and you have and the cards were very thick because the pin was covered, you have to scratch it and all. And we now reached the point where there's like mobile banking, you can just recharge from your bank account straight and all of that, and you have transfer where your friend can send you. And for me, I can't remember when last I went to the shop to buy a charge card, and I'm sure a lot of other people like that. So it will just this, or even if you look at like digital cameras and analog cameras, how digital cameras have taken out all those analog cameras that used to. Yeah. So it's just how, as long as AI comes into blockchain or a lot of other technologies keep merging with the blockchain, you find out that finance will just, the approach towards banking will change completely. And I can say that the future is DeFi.
Yeah. Awesome. Because I also like your submission. So, but till everybody speak before I will now do the round off. So, Tech Explorer, go on.
For me, I'll say banks will disappear actually because but their rules will change. Like traditional banks will now become something like a fintech companies. You know, fintech companies they integrate blockchain and digital asset and DeFi. So they integrate. So it will be something like ce- central DeFi, like combination of centralization and decentralized finance. So, but the instead decentralization will have more propensity than the like decentralization will have more propensity than the centralization, but there'll be combination of both. So I'm not sure, but instead they'll adopt new ways whereby they'll be working as fintech company, that kind of.
Wow. So I like this class. Yeah, Johnson, please go on.
Okay, so my take is on this second question. I don't think banks will disappear, but rather they will take the system of DeFi. Just like there is what they are building currently. His name is Chimeze Chuta. They are building a kind of Naira on chain, which is I think is CNGN, something like that. So I don't think banks will disappear. Yeah, that's just my take on.
I love this. Abiola, are you ready now? Okay, Christiana, go on. It seems Abiola, like he mistakenly raised up his hand.
I'm ready, man.
Okay.
I'm ready.
Okay, you are ready. Okay, please, Christiana,
Yes.
hold on. Let Abiola go.
Okay. So, just like how others have also talked on that too. Okay, my own, I think what will happen to bank, I don't think they will go into, is either they adopt the technology also, because the way woman works, we can see is everything is just generation to generations. There are some generations that were skeptical about keeping money in banks, and all of a sudden, this fintech like OP and Co just rise also. Even despite we can see some generation adopted it, why some generations still prefer the normal way of banking till today. They still see OP as they can run away at any time, or money points can run away at any time also. So all these things evolve. So we evolve. So everything is just generation to generation. So there are some generations also that were unable to invest in crypto. But with our own generation now, we've seen how Bitcoin and Ethereum over the years. So if we had the opportunity again to invest in other things, you will invest. But some generation can never. So everything is just over each other. So at the end of the day, what will happen to bank? We can see now bank also are now improving their mobile app, which is never their priority before. Just because that's just what will happen to them. They will not want to be a system that will go out. So they will rather adopt it little by little into their system, then because they don't want to be left behind. So they might become a legacy system last. So.
I love your submission, Abiola. So please go on, Christiana.
Okay, I think another problem that we're really having concerning adopting Web3 in our daily lives is, I think, is the interface is also a challenge.
Okay.
The interface, right? How to interact is also a challenge because the first time I came in contact with Web3, dApps and all, it was looking like something out of this world. Like it was so strange. Unlike Web2 that you can easily just go around, like you can just, this is transfer, this is, I don't know if you understand it. I think that will also play for we developers, for people that want to develop engineers. If we can just do something that is not really, really complicated, looking like Ogbanje winch, you understand? If we can do something that is like something that people can understand, I think it will go in.
Christiana,
Yes.
are you a front-end developer? Sorry for asking that.
Yes, I can say that.
Okay. So since you're a front-end developer, make sure this same thing you said, you start implementing it even in your project. The problem I used to observe with Web3 is that they always want to stand out. Because truly, just like you said, once you meet a Web3 project interface or website, you must know. You see color here, color there, color here. You understand? So they just want to differentiate themselves with Web2. So that's why you see sometimes they do that. But just like you said, you can work on that. Truly, user experience, it should be much more better. Michael, you go on.
So my take on what we've been discussing about is anybody that refuses to evolve, anybody that refuses to go through the process of evolution is going to be left in the stone ages. Let's take, for example, there are a lot of our parents that still find it very difficult to use Android phones. Why? Because they feel they cannot learn it. And it's not something that is very, very hard. I just feel they say, it's hard for me, Jare. I'm not going to learn it. Then they will keep complaining over and over again. So, Christiana, for your take on the interface aspect of the Web3, I believe if you go through a lot of YouTube videos, it will make it very, very easier for you to get along with. But the whole concept of it is finding a way to evolve ourselves, finding a way to integrate these new technologies and make things easier for ourselves.
I love this. Thank you, Michael. So Jethro, go on.
Okay, like I really want to support what Michael and Emerson said. Like there will be a gradual switch, right? We know that things are evolving. So I know with time, it's just a matter of time and space. These things will fall in place. Like you actually see the banking system as an obsolete way of transacting. And then when you see it, it means that the adoption is going to be massive. And then with good developers, I know that we will achieve this. And about UX and how these Web3 applications will be seamless, I think that's the aims of Zion, right? Trying to integrate Web3 and Web2 to be very, very seamless. Like you'll be using your Web3 applications without even knowing it's Web3. So when we think towards that direction, I think there will be a very drastic switch in technology. Yeah.
Okay, beautiful. And Emerson was raising up his. Okay, somebody was raising up his hand. Yeah, Solomon, he was raising up his hand. Oh, they have talk your talk.
He has actually said what I actually wanted to say because UI UX is actually very important when it comes to usability and when it comes to onboarding. We need UI UX. So it's something that I understand that, okay, yes, Web3 wants to stand out from Web2, but there's a way we can actually do it whereby it is still that user friendliness is still there, because if those people that actually you are trying to get their attention onto your platforms or onto your systems are not really understanding how your platforms or system runs, we have a problem with it. I think that was one of the issues that Kuda had initially when they first of all rolled out their app. The usability was not that sound, and then people were like, no, no, no. Eventually, when they actually changed that, the acceptance grew more. The acceptance grew more. So it's more, and that was one of the what makes OP actually better, or in a sense better than Kuda, is because of the user friendliness of the app. That and that's the difference between the two of them. It's not as if OP is more than Kuda, but what makes OP more accessible, so acceptable to more people, is because of the user friendliness. So we need to work on that, actually get more people on board.
Yes. Wow. I've learned a lot. Thank you so much for your contribution. So just like I said, to wrap up everything, so I don't believe banks will disappear. Now, the reason why I will say I don't believe banks will disappear is that most of those owner of banks are those people that have liquidity. Just like I say, they have mad liquidity. It's just in Nigeria here that probably banks are slow. But if you go to like Japan, there are banks that are already running on the blockchain in Japan. You can make a research on it. In fact, they built the blockchain themselves and they are running on blockchain. So other countries to have instances like that, because just like what I always tell my friend, technology, don't wait for any man. It's you that will follow technology. Technology will not wait. I say, Moko wait for him. In 2 years, time go dey ready. What's it concern technology with Moko wait for him? Technology na fire go. Okay, Sindra Bank, thank you. So there are banks already. So what will happen is that those same banks, why? They have the money, they have the infrastructure, they have the connection. So at best, what they do is that they begin to partner with all this blockchain and build a banking product that is reflective of DeFi. You understand? So, just like how centralized exchanges, where they manage your keys for you, you only just to log in, do what you want to do and go off. Banks might start adopting that also, where you can have an account with them, but it's going to be a crypto account, or it's going to be a crypto account attached with your own normal bank account and all of that. So they have the money, they have the people. When it comes to human power, they have it. When it comes to the connection, they have it. So there are banks that already partnership with Aptos blockchain and even Solana and all of that. So let's expect the best. So that's what you see. It's good you people continue to build yourselves, because in the nearest future, by the time they start looking for developers, they start looking for advisors in the blockchain space, I believe by then you guys will be up and ready. So that's why you need to take it serious, because there's something I always tell somebody. Once you are new into a technology, or you are in the growing stage of a technology, coming in, you have the advantage of being the first set of people that are coming into that space. And like the blockchain space, why I love the blockchain space is that the barrier to entry is extremely low. And then the ability to you to start earning from it, so far you are serious and you are ready to learn, is very high. There are different opportunities in the blockchain. Unlike the Web2, you go solve algorithm, you go do DSA, data structure algorithm, you go tire. But Web3, so far you have the skill and everything. They are looking for you. In fact, I saw a link. Probably I'll share it to our ABU community head. That's Sir George. Like, I'll share the link to him. Where Sui, the co-founder of Sui, say he's ready to pop in. Is it about $1 million to Africa, with emphasis on Nigeria? I don't know why. Maybe because he's a Nigerian. He has Nigerian roots. Because his name is Adeniyi. But he's an American man, so maybe his father got married to a white woman. So his name is Adeniyi. So I believe he should be from Yoruba and all of that. So with emphasis on Nigeria, because why? He believes that in the next 10 to 20 years, more like major workforce that the world will be looking for will be found in Africa and Nigeria, because we have the most amount of youth right now when it comes to population. So he's ready to fund, I think from now, is it now till 2040? I can't remember. He's ready to fund whosoever is ready to learn and all of that, because he believes that the future of blockchain lies on Africa. So I'm really happy that all of you are here, and I'm really happy all of you are engaging, all of you are serious about it. So please attend your class, do your quiz, do your assignment, be serious. It might not be easy, but it's possible. Just like how you people are in this boot camp right now learning, that was how me too. I was in other boot camps learning also. You understand? So just keep at it and keep trying your best. So thank you so much. So any other thing? I think that's all. Okay, okay, please go on, Fitek. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, sir, and thank you to all the students that participated. All right. So I just want to pass few information so that we could know how we are structuring the bootcamp and we could have clarity. So the first thing is that I mentioned that next week we'll be having the Xeon guys. I mentioned that that was yesterday. So we'll still send updates to the WhatsApp announcement channel and possibly the Discord. So ensure to always check that for the announcements. So don't always wait till maybe messages as compiled or so on, and you get lost in that in announcement. Then secondly, again, I want to encourage us to please share your story on Twitter and ensure to tag us. It's really very important, and it has been also helping us gain traction. Like I saw, is it David? Yeah, there's one tweet by David that really gained traction, and Farida too. Yeah, I think I saw HackMD comment on that one. So please and please try to share what you've learned, even if you've not started building and so on. Just try to put it out there that, oh, you've signed up for this bootcamp and this is the kind of value you are getting. And it's also going to help you to build a public profile, and I think the best way of building is to build in public. Then from my end, I think that will be all. In case of any other information, we'll still pass across to you all. All right, thank you very much, Gideon.
Yeah, I have a question, sorry. You said we should use Twitter. What if we don't have a Twitter account? Can we use our LinkedIn?
You can use your LinkedIn, but he recommended Twitter because you cannot be in the Web3 space and you tell me you'll not be on Twitter. So go and open a Twitter account, please. But you can also use your LinkedIn. That's nice. But Twitter is paramount.
Okay, no problem. I just even deleted my Twitter account yesterday, but no problem.
Please reinstall again. All right, so Gideon, that's all from my end.
Okay, so thank you everybody. Thank you for your contributions. So keep working hard. And even we, your mentors, are still working. We still they grind. One and no reason now. So make una too they grind. If you know if you grind stone, grind tomato. If you know if you grind tomato, grind carrots. Just make sure say they grind. Anywhere you be. All right. So I think that's all from our own part, from our own end.
Sorry, Sir Gideon. I just remember Saturday class. It's supposed to be dev hour and 5 p.m. So and that'll be your last section for now before you come back again. So I don't know if you address them. And in terms of timing, is 5 p.m. convenient for you?
Yes, 5 p.m. Yes, 5 p.m. is okay. I think I promised you guys that we'll look at the mathematical, like how public key is formed from private key, right? So I promise you on that Saturday, that's what we'll look at. Is something that is very simple, right? It's just that all like wallet have abstracted the process. So anytime you create a wallet, they'll help you create that. But ideally, you can create your own private key yourself. And also from your private key, you can generate your public key if you want. So we'll look at that aspect. We'll not look at the deep mathematical aspect so that somebody will not say, guy, you don't do, I don't yet blockchain, you can't constantly use mass joiner. No, don't worry. So it's just how the whole process is. So you have a knowledge of it so that it will not be as though it's magic. So, all right, thank you.
All right, makes sense. And I'm sure the sub-mentors too will also be available to also maybe take some sections. So thank you very much, sir.
All right, thank
you. Please, I have a reminder. Sorry. The last class we had, which was on Tuesday, I guess, we had 1 hour left. So I'm asking now, is the 1 hour going to be added to the Saturday class? And if it's not going to be added, we understand. You can just send me USDT. I'll send it to the rest of the class. We share it amongst ourselves.
No, we do consensus here. We don't do that.
Exactly.
We don't do that. We do proof of stack. So you have to stack some USDT to me first. After stack it to me, then I'll know how to release the one I'm going to release. All right. So thank you, everybody. See till we meet on Saturday.
Thank you, sister. We enjoyed your class. Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you. You're welcome. I enjoyed you guys' company.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Welcome.
Thank you,
Thank you.
everyone. Have a nice day.
All right. You too.